Today is Friday, March 13th. Thank God it's Pod Day, and welcome to Can't Stop Playing Episode 2. I'm your host, Zach GhostRobo, and joining me is my lovely bunch of musketeers, all the way from the warm south, the jealously warm south, Volatile Gabe.
You can take the warmth. Hello. Hi, everybody.
Whoa, okay. It's a free offer?
Yeah, I hate the warmth, but whatever.
So let's swap.
I will gladly live in Indiana instead of Texas.
Okay.
Why? Is Indiana really cold?
Yeah.
It is.
Well, right now it is.
Well, today we had a 50-degree day.
Everybody's complaining about the cold. Come up here and do a winter week. I'll see you complain.
And there is our other host, the freezing, frigid
Cody. Yeah.
Cody. the best review we got of the podcast was one that started off, Zach, Cody, and Gabe always entertained with their talk about what's happening in the video game world.
Yeah, so I'm Cody.
Like, I legitimately want to know, like, if whoever wrote that review, let us know. Write us into can'tstopasking@gmail.com. Ooh, nice plug for me. I'm getting the hang of this. But yeah, write us in, and why do you think that Max is named Cody? Like, I
think the reason, honestly, is he's been watching, like, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, that show that aired on Disney Channel, and he's just got it.
And I look like him or something?
He's a missing triplet.
I guess. Now, if you're listening to the show...
I just realized, today is Friday the 13th.
We've had so many of those this year.
Right?
I think is that 2 or 3?
That's like 2 in a row, no? Like both months. Did we not have one in February?
Welcome to the calendar.
Yes, we did. We did have one in February. That's 2 months in a row, February 13th.
That's
wow.
Freaky.
Jason Voorhees
spooking me out here.
I just realized that. Just as you were saying it, you were like, today is Friday the 13th, and I'm like, wait a minute?
The next one is in November. We have another Friday the 13th. So enjoy this one. Cherish it. 13 is my lucky number, so I love the day.
But still, 3 Friday the 13th in 1 year, is that, like, common?
Jason's working overtime.
Yeah, video games, people.
Yes, and we have a lot of good stuff to talk about, from the Uncharted 4 delay till PAX East, all the way through Ori, Hotline Miami 2, and a bunch more. Thank you guys so much for making the first episode a smashing success. I think we were all blown away by the support we got on iTunes, on YouTube, whether you're using your ears, your eyes, your nose to participate in this show. We definitely appreciate it. And it'll be up on iTunes and YouTube from here on out. It's going to be a visual and audio experience for you guys, however you choose to consume it. We're looking into getting it on other services as well.
You could even do this. You could watch it on YouTube, hit mute, and download it on iTunes, and sync those up.
You got better quality.
Yeah.
And you would listen. It's a brilliant way of watching it. The best way of watching it. Double support.
Zach was about to touch on this, and I think it's a good place to say it, because a lot of people were asking us, hey, I don't do iTunes. I don't have an iPhone. I'm like, okay, a couple things. One, you can download iTunes on any computer in the world. So if you have a PC, you have a Mac, Linux might even run iTunes. Just
Tamagotchi, whatever you got, throw that iTunes on there.
All that stuff, man. Just you can download it there, just if you want to support the show, and it helps us keep this hype train rolling. And for those of you that are exclusively on Android and you don't want to touch anything that Apple has its fingers on, that stuff is coming. Just give us a couple weeks here to get situated as far as the whole iTunes go. But it'll be on Stitcher, it'll be on SoundCloud.
For sure, it's all for sure in the works, and we had like an incredible first week. We were above some of the other like juggernauts in the gaming podcast space. We still currently sit in a very great spot on iTunes, featured on their main page, on their games and hobbies page. So like, kudos to you guys for making this thing a big success right out of the gates. We really appreciate that, and any continued support is awesome. Speaking of the ratings and reviews, the winner of the console giveaway is in the show notes right now, so if you go click on the little information, you'll see who won that console. Congrats. Let's give them a little golf clap. All right. Good work. Your reviews. Actually, I'm impressed. Like, a lot of the reviews were very well written. We have some quality thinkers in our
we got some up-and-coming Shakespeare's.
Yeah, and then we had some non-up-and-coming Shakespeare's.
I know.
Nah, but that love is appreciated tenfold. Like, you guys say you love the show. Hey, we love that you're listening to the show. And, just because week 1 is over, we still need that support. So if you haven't reviewed the show, go ahead and do it. I know a lot of people couldn't figure out how to review the podcast. Just Google how to review a podcast on iTunes.
I believe we linked it. Did we not? Like, I don't know. In the video I did, I linked it like a specific like little guide.
Yeah,
which is very simple. And I think
left
Zach
it.
did that too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and if you guys
Yeah.
are watching on YouTube, there will be a link to subscribe. If you're watching it on or listening to it on your iPod, you can always go check it out on YouTube. And we're just going to keep things rolling. There will be continued bonus episodes for iTunes subscribers, and there will be continued video podcast on YouTube. And we're going to try to sync those up, so this will be a Friday thing. Start your weekend off right from here going forward. This week started off a little bit not so right with a big delay that shook the whole, like, I feel like this one game just totally sent a shockwave through
Are
the
we
entire...
really surprised?
I am. I'm blown away.
Are you serious?
I'm not surprised at all.
I am
Dude, I
so
remember
surprised.
like a few weeks back I said Zelda and Uncharted are not coming out this year. No matter what. Like both of those games, they're not coming out in this year.
I've put up on my wall here a gigantic
A
Zelda
beautiful-
and Link mural
Yeah, it
in
is
order
pretty
my
awesome.
offering to the gods. So please
By the way, is it
release that
crooked?
game. Hey,
That
no,
might be.
I don't have a
I
level.
think it's crooked.
No, but guys, here's a fun thing for those of you that don't watch on YouTube. Each week there's going to be like an extra candle like next to the poster.
Exactly.
And we're just going to pray to the
One
Zelda.
more week without a delay. 2 weeks
Yeah.
without a delay. But Uncharted 4 gets pushed back to spring 2016. It sounded like it was very much not a marketing decision, not a release window decision, but very much a hey, this game is not done type decision, or maybe hey, this game is not where we want it to be type decision. They did have a lot of internal shuffling over the last couple of years with
Everyone
Bell
leaving.
taking over and a bunch of Uncharted mainstays leaving. I do find it interesting, though, that of all games, it's Sony's sort of flagship that goes down for 2015, because now the big question is, like, what do they have after Bloodborne?
Yeah,
And-
that's definitely the biggest concern out of this is what do they do for the rest of the year? I don't know. I personally, I think it's going to be like them saying, okay, look at how many indie things we have that are exclusive,
Right.
and then on top of that, leveraging the the Call of Duties, the third-party stuff, and just say, look, you can play all this other stuff.
They have to have at least another exclusive. They just can't.
The thing I think is really hard for them is they don't have a Destiny to get behind this year. I mean, Assassin's Creed, maybe they can strike something together with, but last year that appeared on the Xbox stage at E3. Batman is too early, and so then you're left with, like, what would they really rally behind? And just to get a
The
little...
Division, maybe Rainbow Six, if those are still a
Yeah.
thing this year, which they said they are. I don't know.
Just to get a little granular with it, Neil Druckmann broke the news on the PlayStation blog, and he said, since we showed you our first gameplay reveal of Uncharted 4: Thief's End, more of the game and story have come together, and it's become clear to us that this game is much more ambitious than we originally envisioned. After spending so many years with Nathan Drake, he means a lot to the team, and telling the climactic chapter of his adventure is a task we don't take lightly. This game deserves every bit of the attention to detail, precise pacing, and nuanced storytelling Naughty Dog is known for. Thank you for your patience. We know the extra wait will be excruciating, but you'll see it will be worth it as we reveal more about Uncharted over the next year.
I have a question.
Super professionally done.
Yeah, sure. Neil Druckmann, he can write a thing or two.
Yeah,
But
just a few.
I have a question. How do you not do you guys care, but do you feel this is a negative thing? Because to me, I'm one of the rare few that say, like, hey, fine, push it back, make it better. I don't mind pushbacks at all.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Somebody, I don't remember who tweeted this originally, but it was going around on Twitter with this announcement is like Shigeru Miyamoto once saying something along the lines like, a delayed game is going to be eventually a good game, or can be a good game, whereas a bad game is always a bad game.
Yeah.
So
Something along those lines.
Yeah, something about a broken game is always broken, or a bad game is always a bad game, but a delayed game could be a good one.
I think that's the logic here. And again, it's Naughty Dog. Like, if we were talking about some studio that has burned us before, it would make sense. But I just honestly, I cannot see these guys being like, well, we got to push to make more money. Like,
I think it works for them because you're guaranteed a quality product. I
Yeah.
think it's interesting in comparison to The Order, which got delayed out of the same window and basically in the same formula. Like, it went from fall release to kind of early spring release. Their game had insane polish and yet benefited nothing from that. Now, granted, plenty of other issues with The Order 1886, but Assassin's Creed Unity sells insanely well and has tons of bugs. The Order comes out hyper polished and gets just ransacked at launch.
Yeah.
Uncharted 4 is a great game, so it'll be fine. But I do think that depending on the product, like I would be okay with bugs. Like to me, if Assassin's Creed didn't have the face melting bug or fall through the world once or twice, I don't think that game is now a 9 out of 10.
No, it still isn't. Like that game's
Yeah, but
problems
I don't know.
isn't that.
I can't with a clear conscience be like, yeah, I'm okay with having bugs in games. Like it's kind of like if you decide to make your game annual, it's your problem to make sure that it works. You know what I mean?
So do we think that this is like just timing? Do we think that the direction of the game wasn't where it was supposed to?
No, I just think it's just look when they make this kind of game, how big it is and how Naughty Dog has to polish every element of the game. I mean, look, one of the main characters they have to do completely re-voiceover, like the whole thing, didn't they? Because I believe the guy that plays the brother or something, he left the project too, right?
I think all that
imagine
commotion is really
redoing all of
causing
those
this.
lines, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of work. It's not like something that you could just walk into a room and be like, well, okay, we're done. We redid everything. So
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of there was so much stuff that shifted, and Neil Druckmann and like the new guy that took over, like the two of them, I think maybe are taking the game maybe in a different direction. So they need more time to get that direction across, so that it doesn't feel like one of those like almost like those movies where they come out but the director didn't have a hand in editing it. You don't want to have that situation where they kind of just edit the game that Amy made. You didn't want to have that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, the game's been in development for a long time, so to me, it has to be that switch over that just caused kind of a shake up over there. If you're Mr. Sony though, like what do you fill this void with?
Yeah, and that's what I'm most excited for, because the delay.
Well, either excited or horrified.
No, well, I'm excited because delays happen. It's just a part of the gaming industry in 2015. That's just a fact. I in my heart of hearts, I feel like Sony needs to fill this void with something. I don't know if it's a new God of War. I don't know. We finally get the Guerrilla RPG. Like I don't know what they fill it with, but I have a feeling it will get filled with something. They're not just. Sony will not go into the holiday season without an exclusive to sell.
I honestly don't know if they would do that, because the problem is if they just fill it with something just for the sake of filling it with something.
Well, no, something that's ready. Like
yeah,
a lot of that stuff has been in development.
I don't know. Maybe I wonder if it's just all like a little just
think about
out
it.
of reach.
All right. Well, think about it. Like, pretend you work at Sony. You want to go into holiday 2015 without an exclusive?
You don't want to, but I think if they had, look, I'm sure that they maybe they had a meeting with Naughty Dog and they were like, listen, what if we gave you more money? Could you hire people and get it done at the end of the year? Like, is there any way that we could still get this thing out? Because in their best interest would be to have that game out, right?
For sure. I mean, Microsoft has to be partying. Halo 5.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider 2 now looks like the best buy ever, because that game is going to have the entire fall season to be sort of like the adventure game all to itself and being exclusive on
I
Xbox
think the
One.
problem is we're also still kind of early in the year, so that like we can't really even talk about like what are games that we know are coming out October, November, December. Like we could make guesses about like Call of Duty obviously is going to be somewhere in there.
Assassin's Creed and Forza.
Assassin's Creed, yeah.
Zelda.
So other than that, like we don't know what it could be. So I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, they would need something.
I mean, Max, let me appeal to your marketing side. Last year, you could kind of go in and say, "Hey, it's like a big deal with PS4 is still a new thing. We've got Infamous, we've got Last of Us. Those are kind of games that had a wide appeal." Well, The Order, they're not going to be marketing much more. Bloodborne is pretty darn hardcore. So you go into fall 2015. What's your commercial on? If you don't have a new game, like what are you pimping Destiny still? Like what?
I think they're gonna what they're most likely gonna do is, my guess is they're gonna look at one of the bigger franchises. I don't know. I mean, crazier things have happened. Maybe they take that deal away from Microsoft with Call of Duty on the maps or something.
I don't think so.
I think it's Guerrilla. I think it's Project Horizon. I think that's what we get.
But I don't know. I just feel like the problem is like I feel like unless if it was the plan all along, it's going to be a game that they just send to like just so that they could say, "Oh, we had an exclusive,"
I honestly think there's another game that was going to be an exclusive, and now it's just going to get much more of a push. I don't think they're like,
hopefully.
"Oh my God!" I don't think there's any way you could scramble a title in the next 6 to 7. 8
Yeah, no, they're not. These things have been percolating for a long time. Guerrilla has been working on this.
So maybe they take something that was due in the February-March window and now rush it forward a little bit.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. The rush it forward is my concern. So as long as it's done right, I guess. I just think that at this point, like Sony have done such a like incredible job of kind of managing, and avoiding all the mines that typically companies would fall on at this point. They've navigated that so well. Like, they did push back the order. Because they said it needs more time or whatever. And again, we're not going to talk about it, but the fact is they gave that team more time because they needed it. So I almost wonder if they will go through with it, or if they just, they will hustle to get some sort of exclusive DLC or something, so that they could just say, look at all these indie games that you can play, and then wait till 2016. I hope that that's not the case.
It's just
but
at
I
a certain
think
point
it's very possible.
Maybe they can. They've sold 20+ million.
Exactly.
But for me as a hardcore gamer, it's like, can we keep delaying this generation? I saw an interesting tweet about, people could say that Sony is now taking the same strategy Microsoft did, which was in the Xbox 360 era. They had great relationships with third parties and really built up their base on third parties. But you can't forget that they started the generation off with some massive exclusives in the form of Gears of War. Mass Effect initially was an exclusive on that platform, so on and so forth. Sony hasn't found that. I mean, maybe Drive Club PlayStation Plus version is their big holiday game.
What if they do end up buying an exclusive?
That's another
from a third
option.
party,
Sure,
right?
They could. I mean, if they got some arrangement with Bethesda and Fallout, I don't see that one specifically happening, but something along those lines could, definitely. But we'll have to see.
I honestly think that would be a better option than rushing something just to get it there.
My point is that it's not necessarily rushed, because these things...
So you think that there was a chance of a game that we have seen nothing about ever before being revealed at E3 and coming out that year?
That's my gut feeling. Yes.
That happens.
Really?
That happens.
It doesn't happen anymore.
It does.
When was the last time it happened?
Nintendo.
Okay, you'll take your time. We'll
Yeah.
carry on to the next topic while you think about that.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Let's convert our Hype City car into a plane and fly to Boston, where it was freezing cold but freaking awesome. I was at PAX East last weekend, and I thought it was going to be a bummer of a show. I was honestly sitting on the plane like, I'm going here for this Evolve tournament, and what else am I going to do? But there was a lot of stuff. Like, the gaming space is thriving, believe it or not, in spite of...
Just as an experience, as a whole. Because I've heard a lot of people say that this was better than Prime. People who attended both.
The indie stuff was very strong here, and for some reason, I don't know if it's because there wasn't like a main draw of a game. It seemed like the lines were more spread out. Like, you had some very long lines, but it wasn't like when games like, Borderlands 2 or stuff like that was commanding 4-hour lines, and then over here you had this 4-hour line. The longest lines were for Splatoon, which made me insanely excited. So long I didn't even get to play it. But that game they've done more passes on that game because it looked so pretty in person. Overwatch had an incredibly long line, which is Blizzard's new free-to-play shooter thing.
We're not clear if it's free-to-play.
Well, okay. Probably free-to-play.
All right.
Most likely.
They've said, we don't know if we're going free-to-play yet, but whatever.
I mean, they could charge
We don't
60.
know what we're building, guys.
The game has so many characters, and you can play them all within the same match. I played like 10 characters in one match. It would just... Selling them League of Legends style would be the money bet. But anyways, those had big lines, and there were some pretty big lines in the indie space as well. It's so hard. I played 13 games. I want to talk about all of them. I'll pick 2, but first let me just give a quick bite on my first ever pro gaming event, which was the Evolve Pro-Am ESL tournament. Was
ESL meaning English second language, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Couldn't speak English. You had to be on stage. You were dropping whatever you had. I had to be mute because I don't know.
I would have showed up. I would have tore the house down. Dropped some Russian on everybody.
I think ESL is Electronic Sports
League.
Oh, what a disappointment.
ESL.
It has to be league, right?
Yeah, something like that. Either way,
it has to be a league, yeah, of course.
It was so cool to be.
I think it's
again.
Esports League. That's what it is.
Good call. I'm part of it. I don't even know where it is. But it was like bringing me back to high school sports and actually competing for something and having people watching. Such a cool experience. They had a 200-seat theater. It was full and about 100 people watching, which is really cool. Evolve, like they commentated it great. The overall crowd vibe was really great. You guys know I love that game. I ended up getting 4th place, which wasn't what I wanted, but it was just like so much fun.
4th place overall?
Out of 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he beat 4 of the teams, which still, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's not great.
Some of these guys, like their skill level or their teamwork was just
I tuned in for a little bit on the stream. I love how the guy was like, I don't understand why. Like your team apparently, like from what I understood, it was like kind of like thrown together. Like you
Yes.
guys weren't
Yeah.
really a team
Yeah.
to speak.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like 4 individual players thrown together. And he was like, I don't understand why they're not aggressive enough. They're not engaging.
Yeah.
They're not engaging. He just kept saying they're not engaging.
We had a little bit of a sort of like stage fright type thing where all of
Okay.
a sudden we felt great during the week and then got there and we're like, oh. But the team that won, they were so solid. The best part though was the guy agreed if he won, he was going to cut off his ponytail on stage, and they won. And Phil Robb, who's the head of Turtle Rock Studios, came up on stage and cut off his entire ponytail right
Wow.
there. It was super surreal, like I was on some reality.
And then he
TV.
became terrible at the game, like Samson or something.
Serves him right for even having a ponytail, but
It was really cool, and it was the best part was like such the positivity. Gaming and online gaming in particular gets such a bad rap, and everybody there like congratulatory. All the guys were nice.
Awesome.
Nobody was like fist pumping or throwing stuff, and the winners walked away with those 30-inch Goliath statues, which I was like, "Can I have one, please?" Because, I mean, because they're so cool. It's probably the best
Wait,
gaming.
but did they just like hand them to them? Like I'm wondering.
No, yeah. Take this on the plane with you. Good luck.
How do you put that through the the machine?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, what is that, sir?
I'm pretty sure they boxed them up, but man, I saw that's Project Triforce is building those, and I saw some of the stuff they're working on, and
their stuff is insane.
whew, I mean, it's insanely expensive, but it's
Yeah.
insanely cool. PAX though overall was like a great show. I met a bunch of fans. I forgot to ask if they were fans of the podcast, which was a bummer. But my favorite fan, they were all great.
My
Every
favorite
was great,
fan.
but
A new segment of the week, guys. My favorite fan.
my favorite fan was Charles. He was probably in his like mid-30s. He works at Harvard, and
Harvard University.
he's a motion graphic designer at Harvard University.
Wow.
And he
Hey,
watches
we-
all my videos, which is awesome.
Hey, Charles, email us. We need artwork for the podcast. I'm joking, but no.
Well, how
I'm
about-
joking, but no, really, you should email us.
How about we just get our podcast syndicated through all the Ivy Leagues? That's what we.
Oh, there you go. It'll be like the new
Brilliant.
Facebook. It'll
We
start
can
off
have some intellectual conversations.
All right, guys. Everybody, look out for our special guest Charles from Harvard.
It was
On the
weird
next
for me though,
episode.
because I've met a couple fans, but this time I actually met a lot of fans, and to have like a girl
you
come
see,
up and
this
be like super excited and like give me a hug, I was like, what did I
This
do?
is what I heard about. Apparently, PAX East is the one you want to go to if like you do YouTube and stuff. That's what I heard. I heard that that's the one that people attend. Like, I heard that the main difference in the crowd is like Prime is attended by a lot of like developers and like older people, whereas East is a little bit more like younger and
the
more
sense
youthful.
I got
I
is
don't know how
like-
true that is. but-
Yeah, I think that might be accurate. Because the sense I got was like PAX Prime is all about prepping for the holiday season, showing off your goods to burst out around Christmas time. But you have to remember that falls the last week of August, first week of September, which for many kids is their first week of school. So this is a much better opportunity to like convince your parents to take you somewhere for the weekend. So I did feel like there was a lot more young people there, and it was like all the better for it. There was nobody being like ridiculous. It felt, I don't know how you manage to take 70, 80,000 people and make it feel okay, but it sure felt like okay the whole time. It never, I don't know. I'm someone who gets really weird in crowds, and so before I get there, I'm always like how is this going to be? The lines, the people, the pushing, the bumping, and it ends up being just really great because everybody kind of is all there for the same purpose and a positive purpose, which was really cool. The Twitch booth was insane. People were cheering for League of Legends, which I never understand because that game gets the loudest screams
Yeah.
That's awesome.
randomly through the day at PAX. But I'm going to pick out 2 games that I saw there that were incredibly good. The
Did you
first,
see General Joe. Was General Joe in the vicinity?
I saw a lot of General Joes. I mean, it's one of those instances where you mistaken people for people you think you know because you see them on YouTube and you're like, is that guy? Because I think it looks like him, but then it ends up not being, or maybe it was, and you're just like wrong. Nobody has like a name tag on. Although Twitch did give out name tags for their streamers, and you could write on like, I'm General Joe or
Well, you
whatever.
could just wear like a T-shirt or something.
True.
Or you could hire somebody for the weekend to carry a giant sign with an arrow that
Yeah.
says GhostRobo. Like
All
that
right,
would
guys.
be brilliant. You should
I'm
have done
available for your next convention if you want me to follow you around with a giant
that.
sign.
Brilliant.
No, but my dream after seeing all the panels is that we have a Can't Stop Playing panel at a PAX
Oh, that would be awesome.
sometime in the future. It was a really good show though, and I guess just again, just being there, playing games, seeing people get excited, talking to developers. I tried to speak with every indie dev that was at their booth of the games I played. Like this small game called Rise and Shine. It's being published by Adult Swim Games. It's for Xbox One and PC, I believe, and it's basically a thinking man's shooter. They try to take like Dark Souls concepts and put them into a side-scrolling shooter, which at first sounded really weird because it has this almost Scribblenauts art look to it, but HDified, like really crisp. And you have to take cover all the time. You die very quickly. The best part, though,
kind of a throwback to like the Contras and kind of like more difficult kind of.
Well, except in a almost puzzle way. Like the way that they've structured it is, in the levels I played, you acquired this RC car bullet, and after you fired it, you could drive the bullet around through a specific like bubble range. It
cool.
started off just like, oh, there's a guy behind cover, angle the bullet, go and knock him out. But it got to the point where you were like driving the bullet through buildings, dodging mines and bombs, hitting a switch, opening up
It's
a
like
new
that
area.
movie Wanted, remember with
Yeah,
Angelina
bullet bending.
Jolie? Yeah.
That sounds fun.
It was like just such a cool concept, and one that me and my brother kept trading the controller, trying to make sure we got the bullet to the right spot, and it would blow up. And eventually, you got like electric bullets that then could activate robotic things. Very, very cool. Very, very beautiful, and like that was one of my favorite games I played, and I knew nothing about it before I got there. So Rise and Shine, go look that thing up. It's coming out late this year, early next year. But the guy who was the dev on the game who was there, he was like so overjoyed that I liked it. I don't know, like he just, maybe it was just his act or whatever, but he seemed so genuine that like so happy that I thought his game was cool, which is just great to see. Like a lot of the people there, it's just a real great time. The Witcher 3 though, let's get down.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I want to hear about.
I played The Witcher 3 for an hour, and the worst part of the demo.
An hour to play?
And they just said, started the game, play for an hour. Nobody over your shoulder, no restrictions. I couldn't record it, but no NDA on talking about it. I did not want to leave, and I did not like Dragon Age Inquisition. I made that pretty clear. Skyrim's not my favorite thing, but this game, it seems to find a way to capture that vibe and in a more...
Spoiler, guys. The hour he played was just the sex scenes.
No. Okay, I think let's talk about that. I think it's super uncomfortable, right? Because I go into this area. It was part of a different booth for an MCN.
So wait, did you have to line up for this, or is this everybody got to play an hour?
No,
that's a press thing.
This is a press appointment.
Okay.
So I get there. I meet some people I've seen before, like some contacts. They sit me down with the game in front of these people, like they're just talking or whatever. The game opens up with naked girls back, and I'm like, do I skip the scene? Because it pops up with like a little X to skip. I'm like, do I skip this? Do I watch it? Am I upsetting them if I don't watch it? Am I weird if I
It's like if you watch like one of those movies with your parents, and all of a sudden a scene like that comes up, and you're like, oh, this is awkward.
It was totally that moment. But I was so frozen. I was like, if I skip it, they're gonna think I'm some like
gotta let it go.
Weirdo. So I'm like, I'm just gonna let it ride, and like whatever happens, happens. And the game opens up with the Witcher in a bathtub, and a scorpion comes in and bites him. And he just like shakes it off like it's nothing, and I was like, "All right, whatever." And then of course, the only thing I didn't like about the game is it starts off with him telling this lady like, "I'll be back for you later," and she's like, "I'm ready," and it was like, okay, like all right, I don't know if I needed that, but like, she's important now because he wants to sleep with her. But it has a nice intro segment. There's a lot of exposition, but once you get to the world, like, oh my God, density is something that I've desired for so long. I saw the concept art for Destiny. I was like, man, if we had a shooter in a jungle, how cool would that be? Well, this doesn't have a jungle, at least not yet, but their forests are like, it most reminded me of Red Dead Redemption's forests, how those were much more filled with trees and whatnot. And then in something like, I don't want to call it specific games because fans will get angry. I haven't beat these games, but stuff like Dragon Age Inquisition, Skyrim felt more sparse. This game felt incredibly dense, and you have the freedom to go anywhere. There's no like pathing or anything that's limiting you from, at least I saw, wherever you wanted to go, you could go. I diverted from the main quest within the first 10 minutes and went in a complete opposite direction, accessed a bounty mission where I was hunting this wraith witch creature. Super, super cool. The combat is more difficult than I expected. It's much more along the lines of Dark Souls than it is Batman. Kind of a happy medium in between, where it's challenging but not like punishing, I guess. And I love the fact that right at the start they pop up a little tooltip that says, "Note: enemies with a red skull are too difficult to beat. Make sure you level up." So things are not leveling with you. You are going to be able to run into areas where you just get wiped, which I love. I hate when you can just kind of go anywhere and there's not a whole lot of focus. But incredibly dense, beautiful environments. The combat felt really good, and the way that they kind of jump-started the adventure. You start off and you're looking for this girl, and you're kind of going to this first town trying to ask about where she is, and you're on your horse, and it just has a very nice pull to it that kind of pushes you through. It has its opening.
So you didn't feel like lost, right, or anything? Like in terms of just like if you didn't play 2 or something.
I mean, those games can be overbearing, so I wouldn't be surprised if you did feel like a little bit overwhelmed about what was happening. But once you get the hang of it, you'll be all right.
Yeah, I've played a little of The Witcher 1 and 2, haven't beat them, but this did feel like something where you could walk in fine, but you would have more context if you knew what was going on. So you're searching for a specific character. I'm sure if I knew who the heck she was, it would mean more, but the way that they framed it, it's not like you woke up from the last day of Witcher 2. Like it seems like it's kind of, they need it to exist as its own thing.
Of a fresh start, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, because I was worried about that, because that's the one thing that has had me like worried about getting excited about it, because I haven't played the other 2, so I was like, I don't know.
Just play 2. You don't need to play 1. There's a super good they do a retread in the beginning of 2. They explain like, hey, here's what happened in 1. Jump into this. Like, I know going back and playing 1 and 2 is like a huge commitment, but I think 2 you could get through in time.
And these like bounty missions seemed very cool. I'll just quickly kind of walk you through. I was hunting this witch wraith from this well, and you had to find a way to sort of wake her up in order to fight her, because this dude says he's worried about his daughter. She plays around this area, and she's going to get killed by this wraith. Or maybe she was killed. At this point, I was skipping dialogue. Something bad.
Is it a crossover with Evolve?
Yeah, Evolve has come to The Witcher. Yeah.
The first boss in The Witcher is actually Goliath.
Exactly.
Level 1.
I mean, they do borrow a little bit in terms of their beasts are big. Like the Griffin that has been shown in a lot of stuff, that's a big boy. Like he's a big thing. So anyways, so you get to this well.
I really hope you didn't call him that. Like, that's a big boy.
Gosh. You get to this well, and you're like, there's a witch in it. I don't know how to wake her up. So you have to look for her, like, object of desire, basically, the object that will wake her up. And so you go into this Witcher vision, and you're following these bloody footprints to see the people that she's killed. You go through these houses. Along the way, you're picking up loot and things like that, tons of loot, items aplenty. And eventually you find this journal of hers. You can read the journal or not. It leads you back to the well. You're able to sort of summon her forth. And the battle, like, keep in mind, this is within the first, after you gain control, the first 10, 20 minutes of the game. It was a pretty sweet battle. Like, the only way you could damage her was by casting this spell rune on the ground that slowed her down, and then you were able to hit her. She was splitting into multiple forms. It was a satisfying fight right off the get-go, which I thought was pretty, like, that's a great sign. If from the beginning the enemies are making you kind of work for it.
Yeah.
And I liked how they kind of just tied the narrative into it, like who this witch was. You could go in the menus and kind of read more about her. I mean, it's chock full of content. They don't slouch on that at all. And then I picked up my horse, who you can call from anywhere, which is a great feature to have, rode off to find this griffin. And that mission...
do you play a song into an ocarina for it to show up?
No, you just whistle and it appears over the horizon.
So no ocarina. All right.
No ocarina. There is a Wraith, but no Zeldas. Right. So for this griffin mission, I had to go and find out from multiple people, like, I needed some specific herbs to basically attract the griffin. I had to go find out from a dude where it had killed last to know where to go. And then I had to go to sort of a tower encampment to basically get like the approval to like fight this thing. And the way that this all worked was very complex, I would say, because it wasn't just running straight line or within a town. Like, in order to get to the spot where the griffin last killed, I had to jump across areas that you could fall and die. I did fall and die instantly. I had to climb up rocks, running up the ladders and kind of going to this bayside castle encampment to meet with the leader. There's not much more to say except that the game is fantastic and I can't wait for May. I will say that the graphics were definitely not what I was expecting. The game is beautifully designed, but the fidelity was not there. They told me it was about a 2-month-old build.
They got some time to polish.
But
got
could
some
you think?
time.
Could it be a case of because the world is so dense, they just
Yeah.
can't have it like from just a technical standpoint? Like you would have
Like
to
a
have a
Fallout type
ridiculous
thing. Like they're
PC.
just it's so big that it has to look a little bit
Yeah, like you know what I
less
mean, like where
realistic.
it's like because like you said, it doesn't feel empty. Like it doesn't feel like there's
Mm.
just patches of just dirt. It's very dense. And that's I assume that's what you mean. Like environmentally,
Oh
it's
yeah,
very
there's
dense. So
enemies, there's
therefore,
people, there's
yeah,
dialogue, it was the most dense game that I can remember playing, and it gave me the best sense of place within its first hour. Like this was so lived in. There were ducks walking across the road. That was
ducks,
ducks.
real ducks.
Not just like horses and people, milling about, but
Uh-huh.
ducks, random
Uh-huh.
animals. I mean, they
Okay,
clearly
I
know.
think that's worthwhile to put on the box.
Yeah.
There are
ducks.
ducks
There's
on the
ducks,
road
yeah.
with an
I seriously, that
exclamation
was
mark.
a like open mouth wow moment when I saw ducks waddling across the road. How many games have ducks?
Guys, we're
Take
joking.
notes,
okay?
video game developers.
All right.
All it takes is ducks.
Last year was a year of the Luigi. This is a year of the duck.
I think
You're
that
right.
is a case where, yes, the expansiveness of the world and then the density of that world is going to reduce the fidelity. My concern, though, is the trailers have not revealed that. So are people going to be let down? It could come together.
Like, is
visually
it
fine.
really that much different? Because
If you told me it was I was playing the 360 version, I would have believed you. From a fidelity standpoint, not from like the world environment, but I'm sure they have graphical passes to go.
Yeah,
so
maybe they just had it on lower settings so
Yeah,
that
I'm
like
wondering,
nobody would have
yeah.
a bad experience.
But I
Stuff
talked to
like
multiple other people that played the game that were equally blown away by like going in expecting this to be the best looking game of all time, or at least up there, and then kind of coming away like, what happened?
yeah, I don't know.
See,
I mean, I wonder,
ultimately, the
I
game
wonder-
though feels
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, I wonder what if it's kind of a bit of the density thing, and then also maybe they didn't have the right settings, or maybe they didn't get the right equipment for the show that they thought they
Sure.
would.
It
You know
could
what
be
I
a
mean?
multitude
yeah,
of things.
like it could be that, or maybe it's an element of like, look, the game can look way better if you have an expensive PC, but this
Sure.
is kind of what we expect the average person to see.
Yeah.
And I mean, I will say that it started off in an indoor environment with one kind of lighting, went outside in the morning time, eventually got to sort of dawn. They're doing a lot. This isn't like Arkham Knight only at night. They are experimenting with a lot of lighting and a lot of variety. And from what we've seen in trailers and in past games, they're going to go places. Like there's going to be mountainous areas, there's going to be swamps, there's going to be snow, I believe we've seen, all sorts of stuff. My biggest takeaway though was this was a game that grabbed me within the first hour, and that is like the biggest victory you can have, especially for a big RPG that a lot of times can start feeling very like bland. A lot of times you can fall flat, like I don't have a sense of who I am or what's going on. This, like literally, they ask you to sprint with your horse right when you get it, because like you're trucking, you're moving through. You got to find this girl, you got to find this griffin, and you got to get going. And I love the pacing with which they opened up.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Sounds promising.
Because you weren't really excited about it before, really.
I'm just not a huge RPG guy,
Yeah,
and so I
but
was
the fact
worried.
that it grabbed you, it
Oh,
says
yeah.
a lot, I think. So
Yeah, the combat
good.
was excellent, and the world was fantastic. The other game I want to touch on just a little bit before we get into some more of this week's stuff is Gigantic. This game, it is a kind of like
Gigantic game.
it's a
You know,
gigantic.
it's a game about tiny people.
It's a game about it's an Ant-Man prequel for the movie.
There you go.
Hank Pym is really
Official?
upset.
No, no.
This is a studio headed by a guy who worked on StarCraft, or maybe he's even the lead on StarCraft Guild Wars, and it is a MOBA slash
Ooh, I like the art style.
action game. Gorgeous art style. Basically, I told the guy, I was like, I love Evolve, but if Evolve had your art style, I think I would marry Evolve, like because it has so much personality in its characters that Evolve lacks. From the human side of things. I kind of was nervous, like, oh god, is this just going to be a MOBA? But it's so much more action heavy, even more than Smite, because you have full control of your character. You're jumping, you're teleporting, you're leaping, you're shooting. It's basically like an arena battler, but also a MOBA with clear lanes and these two giants, hence the title, that eventually will clash. So the unique mechanic here is that every action you do in the game for your team, whether it's getting kills, summoning creatures, etc., is powering up your big giant in the back. And when you power him up enough, he will go and attack the other giant, taking that giant down, opening the giant opposing giant up for attack, you go and attack. They have it sort of metered off like a Zelda boss battle, 3 meters. You can do up to a full meter of damage each attack, and then from there it will rise back up, or if you don't do the full meter, it'll run out of time. You have 20 seconds or take down a meter. So you need to power up 3 times. The flow of it felt very, very like I felt like I was contributing the whole time, whether I was killing my opponents to kind of keep the push and pull, or even if I wasn't being the aggressor or being the one at the front of the line, I knew what I was doing was contributing to that meter up top that was kind of getting my character ready, my giant ready for his big attack. So
How big are the teams? Is it like League 5 versus 5?
It's 5-on-5. And what I just really like the feel that at all times you were doing something valuable. I didn't feel stuck back, even though I was playing the game with people who were developers. And it just kind of had like a really interesting feel to it. Like they clearly have played a lot of FPS, console, third-person shooter. It is third-person. But like action games, so it's much more in that vein than it is.
It's a little bit like a faster pace. It's almost like a mix between Call of Duty's like fast drop in, drop out multiplayer with the depth of League.
I mean, it's like, let's be clear, it's definitely a MOBA. It's not FPS, but it's basically like if you took Smite all the way, and instead of having it be kind of a limited action, limited control, like you have full control. It feels like you're playing any character action game. The character I played had a sweet like arsenal of attacks. He was sort of this fox hunter guy, and he could fire a bow and arrow. He could shoot poison at his feet, so if guys got in close, then they would be poisoned. And he had a decoy where he could make a copy of himself. And the nice part was, as you leveled up,
say what does the fox say?
It did. It sung the song and everything. Yeah,
oh, wow.
It was a musical experience.
Rights to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's brilliant.
But, so as you're leveling up, there was no item shop that I saw. They said that they're still kind of finalizing some of the UI stuff, so TBD on that, but there was no item shop. Instead, as you leveled up in the game, you were getting every like level 3, level 5, level 7, level 9, you got a passive ability, and levels, all the other levels, including those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you got an ability point to spend, and they were branching trees, so like, again, very MOBA focused, but it felt like the most kind of modern MOBA that I've seen to date.
When did you only get a chance to play one character, or
I played 2 characters.
Did they feel different, or
they like that was something that the developers said that they're a little bit unsure of. They don't know if they're going to let characters be sort of locked into one team. Like, can you have 3 foxes on your team and 3 foxes on the other team? Will there be a limit to how that goes, duplicates, and what that's going to be like? I'm not even sure what their business model is yet, but what I can say is for an early look at this game, it was super fun to the point that I wanted to, again, did not want to leave. I wanted to play more. And
when is this supposed to come out?
To get in the alpha. There was no thing. They announced at PAX. It had a huge presence, like a massive booth with a massive line. I was shocked, but they announced it's coming out for Xbox One and Windows 10, which leads me to believe it's got to be soon. I mean, I don't know if it's a 2015 thing, early 2016, but it just has a lot of personality. You can get that from the art style.
Yeah, if you Google the art style, it's just
awesome.
It
looks cool.
It looks really neat.
You would trust that being a lead from StarCraft and Guild Wars, the guy would know how to balance the thing.
Yeah, they know what they're doing over there.
So even though the characters' attacks were all very different, I mean, you had your traditional like tanks and healers and supports, but within that, very fantastical attacks, which I really liked. It's got something special there, and I hope they're able to kind of build a community the right way, because that's what these games come down to. You know, do they have a player base to thrive or not? But I mean, you got a frog who can stick his tongue out. You've got all sorts.
How exciting!
I'm just saying, this isn't. You're not like a robot or like a dude with a gun.
It's definitely cool. It's got its own like unique art style. It definitely looks very neat.
And just like unique combos of attacks. Again, for my fox guy, his other attack that I forgot to mention, he would make a heal burst come, and that would also give anyone in the heal burst a super jump. So the map we played on was very hilly with ridges, and so you could use that super jump to like sneak up on opponents. So you'd heal yourself, super jump, and then be locked and loaded, ready to go for a fight. Just a lot of creativity I felt in
So it's like Smite from like a third-person perspective, right?
Well, Smite is third person, sort of. What's top
Smite
down,
is
I guess.
Smite is third person.
Well,
Yeah.
Smite you play like from where, like over the shoulder kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the character. Yeah.
Again, the big differences between this and Smite are full control of the character and all of its movement, and much more variety in the landscape. Again, where there's high points, low points, so it's
that's
more of
cool.
an arena.
So there's more strategy in terms of like the actual environment. Like how do you?
Yes.
Oh, that sounds
And,
good.
and just
I like that.
I could go on. You're able to summon these creatures, and there's no creeps, so it's all players. But you're able to summon these creatures at these specific sort of points that can be taken by either team, and those creatures will give your team buffs. Whether it's a healing buff, whether it's a UAV, and then you can go and based on your class, you can upgrade to an elite creature. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. So definitely check out Gigantic, see some of the footage, look at the art style, and
yeah, go check out GoGigantic.com. That's their official website, and you can see the
Max is good
character
at
models.
pimping things
Are
out.
awesome.
I was really, really impressed. It was a game that
Dude, he looks so awesome. His name is Voden, I'm guessing. Is that the character you played?
Yeah, that's what I played.
Oh, he looks incredible.
They've been working on this game since 2012. I mean, it's pretty darn cool. I picked it just because it reminded me of Evolve, like 5 characters, this giant in the background. You don't get to control the giants or anything, but it was a really special experience. And
that's awesome.
It's free to play, so when it comes out, everybody will be able to. I'm sure they'll do beta stuff as well. So PAX was freaking fantastic. There's so much to talk about. We could probably do a separate show, but let's jump.
Get dangerous. Where's that from? I don't know. I forgot. That's some sort of cartoon, I think. Let's get dangerous.
Let's get dangerous?
Yeah. It's a cartoon. Sure? I'm serious. Let's get dangerous. It's a
cartoon.
Write in. Let us know what that is.
It's from Darkwing Duck.
There you go. You see?
Oh, never mind. Don't write us in. Or write us in. It's not about that.
There you go. All right.
We've been playing some really sweet games. Before we get to them, I want to have our non-gaming segment of the day, which is where we discuss the Apple iWatch.
So not the NFL.
Oh, God. At least my Lions. At least we got our big boy replacement.
Yeah, I saw that. That was good. I liked that.
Barcelona is #1 in the La Liga. There we go.
No, not that football.
All the footballs.
Well, you mean the football that everybody on the planet calls football, except for America.
Yeah, Americans we're wrong. Everybody else is right. I fully admit that.
So, which of you guys is buying the $17,000 rose gold iWatch?
Is it 17? I thought it was 10,000.
No, there's the rose gold one is 17K.
They're insane.
I mean, the expensive luxury watch market is very expensive. I get that.
We know people buying these watches, right?
I just thought it was ironic that at an event where you're like, and the Apple Sport Watch coming in at $349, and then like literally 2 minutes later, $10,000, and it's like it just felt like
it didn't feel like it was. Yeah, it didn't need to be there. I don't think it needed to be a part of the main presentation.
It felt very awkward, and the awkward claps in the background just made me cringe.
Yeah, the two guys that can afford it, like, yeah, great.
Are you guys interested in that though? Like buying one?
No, man.
No.
Nah.
I feel this poll that like I want it just because it's some new Apple thing and they haven't come out with a new
$10,000 one or the $350?
No, the 350.
Like apparently the good medium is the one that's like $500. They have a lot of different tiers actually. The $500.
Yeah, I went to the website. There's like 500 watches.
Yeah. Let's have a conversation about watches. Does a watch have any purpose in 2015? Like
not to me.
Yeah, this is the weird thing. Is like for a little while there, I'll be honest. I had a thing where I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy a watch, and like, cause like when you go into like business meetings and stuff like that, it's like it's one of those things. Everybody's wearing a watch, and it's like you want to be all fancy and a grown up.
Right.
But then I was like, I had a watch for a little while. That was like I still have it. It's a gift from my grandfather. It's like a really nice watch. It's not old or anything. It's like a classic, but it's like a really cool watch. But I wouldn't I don't wear it, and then I forget to wear it. So I was like, I don't really need to spend money on a watch just to say I have one. So I don't know, like nowadays, how you convince people to have a watch when everybody's got a phone, and you just reach out the phone and look at them.
Well, people love them, like the the Motorola watch and the Samsung Gear one. Like they do well. It's just financially.
Really?
Yeah, like they sell well. I see a lot of people with them. Like, I mean,
I've never seen anybody with a smartwatch.
I see them all the time. I live in a college town, so maybe it's just younger kids that like them. get their
how
notification.
expensive are those though? Or do they also sell
$200, not like $200 for the
Okay.
Motorola one, and that one's the nicest one I think in my opinion. I almost bought one, but it's just not my wrist.
But watches have to be
big.
fashion, right? They're not function at this point.
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah, well, sort of.
It's status and fashion.
Well, that's
right?
the idea. Is smartwatches are trying to add function, right?
But why would
Because
you
that's the whole concept?
Why would you hold your watch up to your ear when I can just hold my phone?
No,
up? I
no,
can't
you're
see
not-
where this
Be a
works.
Power Ranger.
No one is
Imagine.
doing that. You're not holding it up, but like to get a text on, like if I get a text,
Pull out
that
your
are reaching,
phone.
whatever, to each his own. I don't think any of us are, also people that like working out. You wear a watch, you pair like a Bluetooth earbuds to it. You don't have to have your phone with you. Stuff
How
like
many
that.
buildings are you in that don't have clocks though? Like, I want this thing and I don't know why. Like my heart wants
They
it, and
got
my
you.
mind is like, don't get it.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
got
I
you.
don't know. I almost feel like at this point it's like it's a little early because I feel like this version is not going to be great, but maybe like a few versions down the line it will make sense. Like where because like, it has the potential for stuff like all those things with the Office application of how like use it to open doors and
Yeah.
stuff. Like
That part, like Apple Pay, hotel rooms, that was kind of cool. But
I love Apple Pay. Apple Pay is amazing.
like all that stuff is actually neat. Like I think that has some interesting real world applications, but I almost feel like it's going to take for this watch to sell successfully for then businesses and hotels and everything to look at that and be like, okay, yeah, we can actually like viably install these systems.
I guess the question at that point though is, why are you at this hotel without your phone? Why are you at this store without your phone? Like,
It's I don't know. It's a weird like kind of item that to me it feels like they're trying to find a function for it.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really have any like you don't have any functionality. Like a phone by default has a good function to it of being
Sure.
a phone. Like it calls. Like and then you have all this awesome stuff added to it. But this it's like it's gonna show you the time. Like that's what a watch
Mickey
primary
dances. I don't know
function
if you
is.
saw, but Mickey can dance on the
Apple's
watch
in a
face.
weird place, even with this with the new MacBooks that like have no ports. They just
That
have
thing
like
is incredible though.
yeah, but the next version of USBs that we can't even use yet, technically, like
But they've always been like that.
they're a little
like,
too
push
forward
the-
thinking. Like and Zach, that new MacBook, you can do nothing with it except like surf email and stuff like that.
Okay,
Like,
it's not
there's-
that.
there's- yeah,
It's not
no, there's
that weak.
it is. There's no processing. It has a dual core processor. You cannot edit a video on that thing. It
I
won't
mean,
do.
I guess depends what video you're editing.
Which is really interesting because usually Apple is known to be like the computer that you like a lot of artists use, so it has to run like some heavy duty software like Photoshop and
Yeah.
so on, right? So it's
And this thing
weird.
comes. It comes like with a 500 gig hard drive. Like even an SSD, you have to pay for the upgrade. A dual core processor in 2015. What are you doing?
You see, this is it. This is the thing. Let's.
Yeah, but it's only
if
like
we
a
went-
$1,300 computer.
If we went back to the future,
Dude, for
style-
$1,300, you can build a computer with like.
yeah, you could build a great PC.
But,
Yeah.
but an Apple computer, it's not
Well,
like.
But
I
that's
mean,
because it's Apple. Like
No,
my
I mean,
Retina
two
MacBook,
iPads.
way more than that.
for $1,300, you can buy like a gaming laptop almost that has like a quad core processor and it has like an insane graphics card. This thing doesn't have a graphics card whatsoever. It has the
But
onboard.
that's always been the case. Apple's
Yeah,
always
but
been
I'm
the
saying,
expensive,
this
like
is highly
luxury thing. But you see, this is the problem. Is like I used to be the guy that would say only obnoxious people buy Apple, right?
No.
Like no, but this was my point because it was like, look, there's no reason why especially if you're not just financially completely like you don't have any financial burdens whatsoever. There's no reason why you would buy a Apple MacBook over a really, really high level PC,
Sure,
or something like
sure.
that. But fast forward now, I've got an iPad, I got an iPhone, I've got a MacBook. And I love all of those things.
Yeah.
And honestly, to a certain extent, I almost can't verbalize like why. It's almost just like it's so simple that's what my favorite part of it is. It's
Yeah.
just it's like it works. You know that
It's
that's
effortless.
the number one thing, and it's simple. Like that's what I like about it. Now, would I say that that's a good enough reason to buy and overpay for something insanely a lot? I don't know. That's already a personal kind of.
Yeah, it's there for the people that want it, and I understand that, but I just don't get why go backwards. Because even right now, the current MacBook Airs are going to be like more powerful than this thing. You know what I mean? Like this new one is super underpowered. I don't know why they're doing it.
Because
Like, they have no ports of any kind. You can't even plug a USB stick into it.
I think they don't think that the future is in having a powerful laptop. I think it's more just having almost like a tablet, but with a keyboard attached kind of experience.
Yeah. At that point, go buy a Chromebook then.
For me, though, like, okay, here's what I use my MacBook for currently. I use it for making thumbnails. I use it for responding to emails. And I use it for tweeting. If I could have something that weighs a sixth of what my current computer weighs, that is, the thickest point is 13 millimeters. This thing is literally like disappearing thin. It works perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard people being like, it's gonna bend like the iPhones bend, and that.
Honestly though, like, is your computer right now that heavy? Like, to be fair,
I think most things in tech are like.
What, too heavy?
Convenience. No, I think they're conveniences convincing yourself that you need it. I mean, honestly, you could stick with the same thing for quite a long time, but Apple and most of these companies, they thrive on the fact that people want the latest and greatest, even if I mean, look at the iPhone. Except for a couple of those changeovers, which iteration of the iPhone is noticeably better than the last? I don't think you.
The 6 Plus to me is a lot better. I never want a smaller iPhone.
Oh my God! I hold the 6 Plus and I feel like I'm a child with it.
No, like the 6 Plus doesn't even look that big in my hand. Like here, like it fits my hand perfectly.
It's huge.
Yeah. Like I do one hand typing.
That's a tablet. That's a tablet.
I never want a smaller phone, but whatever, man.
That's irrelevant. Yeah.
Yeah, this whole Apple stuff, like it's cool. Go, if you're gonna buy a $10,000 watch, good on you.
But again, if you don't want there is a $350 watch option available. Yeah. Now, also, let's be realistic about this. It's Apple, so it's going to be an annualized version, meaning that watch.
I'm waiting for next year.
The battery on that watch is going to be fried in a year. Just like it happens with the iPhones, where a year later, your phone starts to all of a sudden get discharged super quick. So let's be honest, those things are built for an annualized purchase. So
let's bring it back to Video Game Land with some feedback from last week. We talked about our favorite games of all time, and it was cool to see just the different responses that we got, because I don't know that anybody had any of the same favorites. The Last of Us was a big one.
I got like 15 people tweeting at me saying that they played Claw, which was awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry to chime in here, but one of the reviews on iTunes was saying something like, Zach, the one that drinks hot chocolate, Gabe, the one that has hats for days, and Max, the one person who played Claw. And I thought that was just so hilarious. That's how they just identified you.
That's good. There we go.
Yeah, that was amazing.
We had, again, a large variety of games. Some interesting ones that I pulled. Parzival X says League of Legends, which is a common choice, but the way that he went about why I thought was interesting. He says, my God, have I put some hours into this game. I just looked it up, and it's 1,115 hours, which is ridiculous, but I'm not sorry.
Wait. How much again?
1,115.
That's too much. That's like months of your life.
46 and a half days. Like full days.
So he said.
It's like that's a month and a half of your life, right?
I mean, how much of that is queuing? How much of that is idle time? I don't know.
It doesn't matter. You spent it on League. Congratulations.
He says, I can't honestly say that I've loved every minute of this game, but I do enjoy the majority of my time. Unfortunately, the community is both its biggest problem and its greatest asset. I made great friends through the game, and for that, I love it. However, there's still a lot of people that want to be jerks. I've thought pretty hard about why I love this game so much. I've narrowed it down to this. It perfectly summarizes the feeling of leveling up a character in an RPG. The close games come down to the wire, so on and so forth. I just thought it was interesting that this is his favorite game of all time, and he doesn't even like all the time he spent with it. But, have you ever had a game that you put that, or maybe not at that magnitude, but that kind of dedication to?
Not 1,000 hours, no, never.
I mean, to be honest, look, guys, we say, it's crazy, but if there was a way to count how many hours we put into those the Marios and the Duck Hunts and everything, I wouldn't be shocked if it's also in those hundreds of, maybe even thousands, because I don't know, I've played a lot of that for sure.
Yeah,
we didn't track it.
Gary Armstrong picked Dark Souls. Gosh, this game was the first game that genuinely upset me, but it was so addicting. I've never died so much in a game in my entire life. My cousin told me about this. I decided to give it a shot, but what he didn't tell me how difficult it was. For games in that genre, I was used to going, kind of breezing through the entire game, not a whole lot of focus, but when I got to this game, it changed my entire outlook on games. This game had so many rewarding moments in it that haven't been duplicated for me in any other title. The controls were tight-knit. Every enemy and boss had a strategic way to beat them. I really enjoyed that. After I beat the game, I felt like I beat a world record of some sort.
And you
Bloodborne.
probably didn't because the world records were actually insane.
Hey,
Yeah.
no. Don't rain on his parade.
No,
Bloodborne.
I'm not. I'm just saying the people that do complete those world records, they're like metahumans of some kind.
Edge
Like the Flash
Magazine.
needs to stop
It's
them.
really impressive. It's one of the coolest things, like, to see those people play those games in ridiculously quick fashion.
We should try to do that for like a charity stream at some point. Like,
It would be.
who can beat Claw the fastest?
I think we could do the opposite.
Hey, I think we can have the first ever
Claw
like
speed
time
record?
trial. Yeah, a claw. Nobody else is going for this. We can do it, Max.
Guys, it's gonna become a thing. I know it. Watch. We need to find out if we could get like the rights for that cat and then make him like the logo or something.
Yeah.
Bloodborne. Edge Magazine got early access to Bloodborne, and they played 40 hours. And
40 hours?
so far, they're not done.
Wow.
And it's quite different than Dark Souls, which has me excited. So that's coming super soon. The last one, and my favorite about sort of the favorite games, was from Dom, and he says, I absolutely love Red Dead Redemption, as it's one of the few open-world games where its atmosphere and narrative is as focused and brilliant as The Last of Us, BioShock. Unlike a lot of open worlds today, Call of Ubisoft, it suffers from no filler, instead a complete package, great gunplay, wonderful and diverse missions, brilliant protagonists and NPCs, and another contender for Max's best endings ever. If you didn't tear up at that, I don't know what you're doing. I thought it was just interesting, like, Red Dead is an open-world game that manages to, like, you remember the narrative of that game, I feel, whereas in, like, Fallout or something, nothing against those games, but they don't grab you in their plot as much. It's more about your experience, whereas Red Dead has all the stuff you want from an open world, yet still manages to be memorable based on its missions, based on its plot, based on its ending. Stuff like Skyrim, stuff like... Again, I don't want to be all boo-hoo on them, but they're more about your magic moments rather than the game creating that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but the weird thing about that game is, like, I almost feel like it's a weird game in terms of it has a narrative, and, like, it's a very still, like, you're gonna still have the same ending,
Right.
no matter what, but it still manages to do those things of where, like, even same missions could be played a little bit differently and still have, like, unique moments to them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I feel like it still felt.
Red Dead's great though.
Yeah.
Great game. I wish it came into PC. It was never on PC.
New one
I
in
bet you
three.
we get a sequel to that. Red Dead something.
Red Dead Revolution. I don't know.
That's probably, like, honestly, that's probably what it's going to be.
What if they
What,
just
like-
call it Red Dead?
I don't think. They have to have that third R, because even the first one.
What about Red Dead X?
Or Blue Dead Bonanza. Just change the color.
Blue
It's
Dead.
a new generation.
Uh-huh.
No, Blue Bed. We'll do B's. Blue Bed, beautiful. There you go.
Blue Dead Beautiful? That sounds like a Mega Man Collector's Edition.
Yeah, why not?
I was going to say a totally different thing, it sounds like, but we'll rock with the Mega Man Collector's Edition. I think we're going to take a break. I am dripping sweat here. We're coming back on the other side with Ori and the
God.
Blind Forest, Hotline Miami 2, your questions, which now we have a question segment thanks to that lovely can't stop asking at gmail.com email, and Hype City, which is thriving. The population's growing. Not sure if you guys have been keeping tabs on that, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of people living there, so let's take a break. So I'm flying back from PAX. It's Boston to Detroit, which is like not a long flight, hour and 50 minutes, so not like a huge plane, but a good-sized plane. And I'm really paranoid about flying. I literally, like, I should probably sedate myself when I get on these flights. But I noticed that all three flight attendants look really similar. Normally you got like average Joe.
Were they triplets?
Hold up. So normally you got like average Joe and like old lady, or like two young ladies and like an old man. Some just eclectic combo of human beings.
Yeah.
This was three dudes, all in their late 20s, all with shaved sides of their head, all with hair kind of like gelled, like coiffed up on the top.
Mm.
And so my blood is starting to heat up. I'm like, the plane was delayed, but then they said we're leaving early. And I'm like, this is really suspicious. So going through my mind, I'm like, what if these guys checked in as citizens, like passengers, and then changed into flight attendant uniforms, got on this plane that was supposed to be delayed. They're like, nope, we're here. We can leave early. The guy comes on the like plane intercom and is like, oh, make sure, we're going to have a great flight from Boston to Detroit. Flight attendants prepare for arrival. And I'm like, he doesn't even know what to say. This is an arrival. This is departure. This got to the point where the plane is about to back up.
Did you start planning an escape? Be honest.
Oh yes. to the point where they had a mechanic come on board because the trash door was broken. I'm like, they must have put a bomb in the trash door.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Hold up, it gets better. So we're sitting there.
Were there snakes on the plane?
There were venomous creatures of all sorts. So it gets to the point where I see all 3 flight attendants are on the in-flight phone at the same time. And I'm like, it's going down. I'm on the window. My brothers are in the middle of the aisle. I leap over both of them and run to the front of the plane. I had no plan. I had no plan for what I was going to do.
Wait. You did this? Or did
you thought about doing it?
No, I did this. This happened. This is like this is not planned.
Wait, Zach. You know that this is going to be on the internet. So just so we could recap this,
Yeah.
let's have an instant replay like a sports.
All right. So all 3
you
flight
get
attendants
up, you jump over both of them. So you're in the third seat, right?
Yeah, the window
And you
seat.
jump over both of them.
I heard
So, by the way, I love how you don't care about your brothers. You don't let them know the plan.
Also,
You're like, forget about them.
Hold on, Zach. What? Can we say what airline this?
Yeah,
was?
this is Delta Airlines.
All right, Delta. All right, Zach is like 6'1", right, or something.
I'm
like that?
6'3".
All right, he's not a short guy.
Yeah.
So to see a tall guy just jumping over.
And here's the best part of it all. Like, I kid you not, I don't remember jumping over them. When I came back and my brothers are like, you just leaped over both of us. I was like, no, I didn't. I didn't remember. I was in such a frenzy. So
Okay, so you run up,
So I'm in mid-run. I have no plan. So I get up there.
which, by the way, is a problem. Just,
So I'm literally thinking, I got 2 options. I can confront the flight attendant, or I can try to make a break for it. The plane hasn't started moving yet.
I can make a break for it. What were you gonna do? Open the door and jump?
It hadn't moved.
Break for it.
Moved. Like, they retracted the tunnel, but it hadn't moved. Okay, so I get up there. I'm like, hey, can I have some water? And the guy's like, sure. I'm like, okay, thanks. I'm like, I get really nervous in flight, so thanks so much. I'm like, are you guys all brothers? And he's like, no, but we get that all the time. So I asked him what his name is. He says his name is Alex. Really nice. He asked me what my name is, and then he gave me a second water and a banana, and then I had to do the walk of shame back to
There was
road.
like calm down medicine.
Zach. Did you crush the banana to make sure there was no device inside it?
No, but like I felt calm and comfortable with his soothing voice, his persona, and I then walked back to row 16 past everybody, and my brothers were like, what were you doing? What were you gonna do? What was that all about? And then my adrenaline was so high that I literally like passed out almost instantaneously from exhaustion because it was a moment.
Sprinted up the airplane.
It was a moment.
Man, that should be a thing from now on. Every time
so
you're gonna get on a plane, take a lap.
Did you run?
It was more of like a
fast
an
walk.
aggressive walk. Like,
Okay, an aggressive
like
walk.
you want to go get that PlayStation 4 on Black Friday type.
Yeah, or like an amiibo is out.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
you're
exactly. It was like,
you
I
don't
need to
run
get
for
there.
it because then people are gonna laugh at you. But you do that kind of like quick walk where
Right,
you look
right,
over
right.
and check.
Well,
and,
the funny thing after the fact was like in reenacting it and thinking about it, my brothers were laughing at me hysterically.
well,
but I
I
was
can
like,
imagine.
the people on the plane probably thought I was the one to be worried about as I like
Yeah.
hop over
Yeah.
them and just make a break for the front of the plane.
Did your brothers have any issue with you just being okay with abandoning them?
No, yeah, they brought that up. Like, what were you doing? I told them though, if I needed to, I was gonna yell, "Come on!" and have them run out the door with me. I know how to operate those exit gates. You just turn the crank and.
Yeah, but then like.
Okay,
you
but
know,
wouldn't
it's not
by
like
the
you
time
have
they
to
get up
spend
there,
it.
wouldn't those guys
Take
act?
a leap.
I don't know. I mean,
You didn't
no.
think-
Like I feel like in order to keep it calm, they would have just let it happen and then
Okay.
carry out their madness later. But that was my flight.
Okay.
Ori and the Blind Forest.
Ori
is a
and the
calm
Blind
game.
Forest, guys.
It's a calm game. There's no insanity.
No, it's not.
It's calm. It
What?
starts off so serene.
Yeah, but then how far are you? That game is not calm.
Calm in what sense?
That game is intense. Like
It's intense, but it's calm. Like I feel like I'm Bambi in this beautiful forest, getting to play a video game. Like it's very beautiful and very like there's definitely like a natural majesty to it.
yeah, I love that game. That is bar none the best game this year so far. Obviously, can you think of anything that'll touch it? You haven't finished it, by the way.
No.
I haven't played it. I haven't downloaded it, but
So the typical scenario: Gabe finished it. Zach played a little bit of it. Max hasn't touched it.
exactly. That's what
Yeah.
happens.
But
Especially.
I did save the world
Red.
by making sure the flight attendants were okay. So
Yeah. Ori and the Blind Forest, man. How far are you? You never told us.
It says I'm 35%.
Okay.
So if that's
Did you finish the tree section?
Yes, I'm on to the next one.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So this game is basically a colorful side-scrolling platformer. It definitely borrows things from Rayman, from sort of the Metroidvania style of game design. I feel like what it becomes is not what it is at the start. Like, would you agree with that? Like, to me, it starts off as like Limbo and then evolves into like much more of an.
Yeah, it's Limbo for the first 10 minutes. After that, it's all Metroid.
Yeah, or like Mega Man almost, or with more platforming.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it Mega Man, but Metroid for sure.
I just feel like it's very precise and demanding in the way that Mega Man is.
Yeah, like have you had any of the segments where you're like trying to escape? Like,
oh, that was my favorite by far.
Dude, and it happened again, and they keep getting more complex, and you have to be more precise. How many times have you died? Do you know?
Oh God, tons.
Over 9,000.
The game is really, again, like on the surface level, you'd be like, oh, it's another one of those indie platformers, but it is by far, I think I'll agree with you, the best game this year. It controls perfectly. Like, it gets that.
By far.
Yeah.
Yeah, like nothing comes close.
Evolve, Dying Light.
No.
I personally like Evolve more,
Darkest
but I don't
Dungeon.
think it's better. Probably like from
This is the best game of the year so far.
Wow. We didn't also mention that it's got a ridiculously cool art style, kind of Studio Ghibli.
And what it does, I think, even better is the animation is incredible. There's not only layered environments, but the way that the characters move, it's definitely next gen in that aspect. And then just the control, like you can wiggle your jumps in the air. It feels so precise. You're wall jumping, you're attacking, you're upgrading your character. It's very, very punishing too. Like insta deaths all over the place. Quick deaths even from regular enemies. Like there's no like gimme enemy. Every enemy can kill you if you're not. No.
Sort of. Like the enemies.
Those jumping guys land on you early on and you're dead.
Yeah, but no, I know. But if you know the pattern, they never touch me. Like once you know, like hey, run away and keep attacking. Like go back, keep attacking. They won't touch.
They can't.
And when they jump over you, go under them, keep attacking. They're dead. It's not hard.
I'm impatient. I like to try to move quick.
Yeah, no.
Well, by your story, we can tell.
The game is sitting at an 89 on Metacritic. Like, it's just, I think it's better than that. Honestly, I think it just went down because Digital Chumps gave it a 7. Everybody else is giving it like 8s and 9s and 10s. What's your favorite part about the game? Like, I was so surprised because, like you said, this game starts off Limbo. Like you're going super slow. It's telling you like this little story of how this creature she adopts Ori, which is like a little cat-like creature. The mother creature is a bigger, I don't know, what do you even call that, honestly, but...
No things from Spirited Away.
Yeah, and it's not a spoiler to say that things go wrong, and it's up to you to save the forest.
It is. It's very Studio Ghibli in its storytelling as well as its art style, and I think, again, that opening little bit may put some people off, like, oh, this is just going to be a boring...
Yeah, but then as soon as the gameplay kicks in...
And it just builds. My favorite part of the game... And I keep thinking of this as I play it, is that it is so perfectly crafted in terms of the traversal. Like the way that they have it all spaced out, you're constantly able to move. It's just so fun to move, and when you get it right, you feel rewarded, even if what you're doing isn't that impressive. You know what I mean? Like just making it over, wall jumping up a wall, and then leaping over some thorns, and then attacking an enemy. Eventually you get abilities that allow you to double jump. You get abilities that basically allow you to air dash, but not only air dash, but reflect projectiles. There's puzzles with that. This is a very hardcore gamer's game beneath a cutesy, happy Disney, Pixar, Studio Ghibli look.
At the time of me finishing this game, which is before it was out, saw the leaderboards. I recognized a lot of the names on there. It's people we know from the press. Like we might not know them personally, but we know their names.
Oh, we know them.
Yeah, and the death counter is the best part. Like some of these people are dying 800 times, which makes no sense to me. I don't know how you're dying that many times.
Well, one of the most interesting. Go ahead. How many of you?
I died 400 times because Well, because dying in
Explain to me how somebody dies 800 times. How much did you do? 400 times.
that's double. That is double.
I know, but that sounds a lot.
I think one of the most unique mechanics of the game is the save system. There
Yeah.
are some set save points that you can access, but for the most part, you're building your own saves. So you have
Oh,
two
that's
kinds
cool.
of
Bars.
bars you're worrying
You
about.
have a health bar and then the energy bar, which they're little blue circles, really.
And the energy bar can be used for like bigger
Power-
attacks,
Yeah.
or it can be used to build a save point. And at that save point, you can then spend ability points because you have a third meter, which is the XP meter. But building those save points is critical because if you die, you'll go back to the last point you saved. So you'll be enjoying the scenery, having fun, forget to create a save point, die, and then all of a sudden you lost 10 minutes of progress. Which
Caramba.
it
And
sounds like a horrible
let me
thing.
explain how
Yeah.
it's possible to die 400 times.
Yeah.
The two last sections of the game, to escape the bad guy, even though it's not even a guy, to escape the danger, you have to be crazy precise with your movements. Think like, not this difficult, but think like Super Meat Boy levels of precision as far as what you need to do to escape what you're escaping. How much experience did you guys have with like Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends?
I played all of Origins and Legends, not a lot.
All right, so you know those sections where you're like running away from this?
Oh
from,
yeah,
like,
yeah. When it's the camera, yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that, but crazy precise. And you have to put into play the air dashing, which you can't just air dash at will. You have to do it off of an enemy or off of a projectile from an enemy. So you got to do everything insanely precise, and that's why you die like so many times. Like it's not rare, especially with people I've talked to sit there and die 100 times with one of those encounters. So that's how that gets. The game isn't really hard. I think there's an achievement for finishing without dying, which is
Holy crap.
it's
no
not,
way.
you could do it if you like trick your saves. Like you can copy your save file over to another slot, and if you die, you go back to your previous save file. So you can do it like that, but it would still take a long time. The game's super fun, man. And
Any really cool moments that stand out, other than like the technical stuff and all that? Like anything,
My favorite was by far-
non-spoiler, but like
Yeah.
something cool.
My favorite was the first one of those escape scenes. It's a vertical escape scene, so you're avoiding rushing water. And doing it like on my first try was incredibly exhilarating. And then I went back to try to see if the Xbox One captured it, and it doesn't do this.
it won't. No.
The PS4 does, where it like auto saves. I'm like, no, because it was such a. It definitely gives you a really. You get so. I lose track of time playing the game, and to me that's pretty impressive for a side-scrolling platformer. It doesn't have the characters of something like Uncharted. It doesn't have like the sweet gunplay of whatever, but it manages to whisk you away this world, and then when you have one of those moments, it ebbs and flows really nicely. So they'll keep it calm and then build, and keep it calm and build.
Yeah. And then when it builds and you finally finish it, you get this like this breathtaking shot of like, let's say it's Ori just falling back down after she's been like launched in the air, and she's falling hundreds of feet, and you see like how big this world truly is. The map on this thing is actually pretty big. I don't know exactly.
I think it's
how many-
massive.
Yeah, there's a lot of areas.
Because they allow you to move quickly, and you can access new areas as you're, acquiring abilities. The pacing of that is also, I found, really good. Like, just when you get sick of, I can't double jump, you get the double jump. Just when you get sick of, I need a third jump, you get the air dash. And the air dash in this game, I think, I've never seen anything like it, where you're kind of basically leapfrogging off of projectiles or other enemies. So
yeah, it's like you're vaulting over enemies or enemy projectiles. The way you have to do it is you have to time it pretty perfectly when you're going to press the button to execute this, and then you use the right stick to decide which area you're going in. And then if it's a projectile, it gets even trickier, because if you're going forward, if your arrow says, hey, you're going to go that direction, the projectile goes in the opposite direction. So there's certain environmental puzzles that require you to use an enemy projectile shot like in a completely different angle.
I couldn't believe how demanding the first one of those, maybe it was the second, was. There's one where you have to basically follow this bullet through an entire gigantic room.
Yeah, it's insane.
Keep changing its direction, keep leaping off of it and turning its direction while also doing leaps of your own. It also, it strikes this perfect balance where your character is small on screen, but not too small. Like, I feel like they are able to show so much of the world and still you never lose track of Ori, who you're
The environmental puzzles in this game are amazing. I love every second of those. Like the ones you're describing where you really have to go up, like what the equivalent of 100 feet. I don't know how much actual game space there is, right?
Sure.
But you're going up a crazy high just off of one enemy projectile that you keep switching direction. And if you're not precise, you're going to fall right back down and you got to do it again.
I do feel like I'm playing Bambi, though. Like, some of those moments, the shots, just looking at the world, even simple things like the way that the music kind of, again, rises and falls as you're getting into dangerous areas, or once you... A little bit of, like, I got a Zelda vibe just from the flow of the storyline of, like, oh, you have to go get these 3, save these 3 main, like, crystal, basically, type things. I think the best thing to say for it is that in a day and age when there's so many indie 2D platformers, this one clearly, like, leaps above the rest of the competition in the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is like the Metroid game I've been wanting for a long time. So this is absolutely perfect for me. Like, the game has some small issues, like the fact that you can't go back after you beat the game to finish off, like, getting collectibles.
Oh, really?
I was so close. Like, I was missing maybe like 10 things in total out of everything, all the collectibles, all the power-ups, everything. I should have done. I figured that, hey, I could beat this game, then I'll come back, I'll have all my abilities, so I could just traverse the whole world quickly, and I'll mop up the achievement that way. It doesn't let you start a whole new save file, which I was sort of disappointed by, but the game ends in such a way that it's okay. I don't want to go back in this world because now this world is perfect. So,
Aww.
Yeah, it's great, man.
Here.
Gabe, are you gonna cry? That sounded really emotional.
No, I'm not gonna cry. Why would I cry?
Okay. I don't know. It sounded quite emotional.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, okay? I was just trying to let you into my heart a little bit. Yeah, but Ori and the Blind Forest, man.
It's a must play. It's
you owe it $20. You owe it to yourself to play this. It took me 8 or 9 hours to finish, and if you want to get every achievement in the game, you can easily extend it. I want to play this game again. I'm playing it again, and it's absolutely
and it's the best game of first quarter of 2015, which is a big claim considering some of the games. Like if we thought about it at the beginning of the year, like on January 1st, I don't think anybody would say that this will be the best.
No, I think in a vertical slice, Ori is very standard, but when you play it through, it impresses you over and over. Like, there are so many moments where I'm like, whoa, like even the title screen, when you go from the start menu to the game, the way it kind of takes you into this forest is
cool.
There's artistry there, and that's really awesome.
And just the way the mechanics all just, like, build upon each other, and just because you have these new abilities, you're not going to stop using the old abilities. Like, as soon as you get a new ability, you almost instantly have to master it because they're going to throw things at you that require it. Like,
it's got a perfect difficulty curve. Like, it is very challenging, but it's not Meat Boy brutal, yet it borrows, like, the controls, the fluidity, the precision of Meat Boy, which almost is better because now you're able to enjoy it instead of, like, throwing your controller across the room. But it's right at that line where I could see someone being super frustrated with this game. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
There are points where you could get incredibly frustrated with this game, especially if you forget to save, but it kind of straddles that line just right. And, like, there's not a ton of combat, but does it get more, like, attack heavy in the back half or not really? Does it stay...
Well, no, because combat isn't, like, the main obstacle in the game. The main obstacle in the game is getting through the world.
Yeah.
And sure, there's enemies throughout it, but a lot of the enemies are just there to get you from point A to point B.
Right.
And you don't necessarily even have to...
So the game is a platformer first and a side-scrolling shooter second.
But there's very few platforms. There's more of just, like, this environment.
There's a lot of platforming later on. There's a lot.
Well, I just mean it's not platformer in the sense of, like, it's very...
Yeah, not in the traditional sense, I guess.
It's much more organic than that, and I think what I like about it better than Rayman is I feel like Ori is so, like, she's so flexible and maneuverable. Like, you can kind of get in and out of the weirdest spaces, and okay, this is getting weird, but Gabe knows what I'm talking about. It reminds me a lot of the barrel levels in Donkey Kong Country 2, or the other Donkey Kong countries, where you're in very confined areas with dangers all around you, and your movements must be very precise. They use, like, what would you call those things where you go from one side of the screen to the other, like warps, I guess?
Yeah.
So you can you have to time it. So you'll jump through one on the right side of the screen, pop on the left side of the screen, fall, use your double jump. It's very
That's
technical.
such a good level. Because that happens in that one. And that's another thing I like. Like something works and they don't instantly go back to it on the next level just because they perfected it. Because the one that you're talking about where you're falling down one warp to go to another one, they don't use that again. They come up with different ways to get through the levels, and each of the level is different. There's a water level, there's a fire level, and they're all uniquely satisfying in their own way. That fire level, man, I know it could be frustrating, but once you finish it, oh man.
It builds nicely too. The way that they challenge you builds, the way that you get stuff builds, I feel like the intensity of the story has built as well, what it starts as. And
you already know at what point do they tell you who the bad guy? Well, not even a bad guy, but whatever. The bird.
Yeah, it is very whimsical in that way, but boy, the actual mechanics are as hardcore, I think, as you're gonna find. For $20, this is
Yeah. Also, the game is narrated by a god of some kind, so it's basically, I guess, their version of a god, telling the story of how.
There's no actual voice acting.
No. It's weird. The thing it reminded me of was Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. How it wasn't really a language, but whatever. It's super cool. But you know what else is super challenging?
A game we're not going to agree on. Hotline Miami 2.
Yeah, man.
And another game that I have yet to play.
Yeah, this is the Gabe and Zach hour. Max is just here for set dressing.
I'm just gonna cruise control through this one.
Hotline Miami 2. It's been getting better reviews than Ori, I think.
I don't know. Has it? I don't think so.
I saw so many 9s and 10s with that one. I don't know what the Metacritic is.
All right, so Ori is at 89 on Metacritic. Let me look Hotline Miami.
Hotline
78.
Okay, all right, so it's not as high, but I'm just gonna get to my thing right off the bat. I almost wanted to shut the game off after the prologue.
Wow. Shots fired.
I'm not even joking.
And that's fine. I understand it.
I love the mechanics of the game, but I think everything around it is deplorable. The game starts off with you're in this movie scene, and the dude goes in. They tell you that there is a girl on the upper level.
Sorry, hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off. This is about to get graphic, by the way.
I mean, I'll keep it okay. But you start. It's extra obvious in today's day and age that this is a problem to me. But you start off thinking you're going to save this girl. You're doing the Hotline Miami thing, which is almost like a puzzle shooter. It's a flat plane. You're walking up, down, left, right. It's not top down. I mean, it is top down, but very flat. And you're trying to shoot people. It's insta-kills for the most part. You have to be strategic in how you move around the rooms. It's very much a sequel to the first game. But you get to the top. You shoot the girl. It says finish her. And you finish her with implied rape, which I literally just wanted to unplug my PS4 at that point. I was like, I like the mechanics of this game. I like how it plays, but everything that this game kind of wants to be,
it might not be for you. It's fine.
Wait, can even do that?
It was weird.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
was super weird.
This game goes to some crazy, crazy places.
You're blowing out people's heads. You're popping out their entrails. It's
look. Don't get me wrong. The Order 1886 had its violent moments for sure. 100%.
No, this is gruesome violent. They get away with it because of the art style.
Yeah, I know, but this is why I didn't play. The first one, I started it. But this is one of those scenarios where I could see why people like it. Similarly to oftentimes how I get flack for GTA, it's I see why people still love this, but to me I'm just it's not interesting.
And that's cool.
It doesn't stop there, because then the director of the movie says cut and tells the girl she needs to be more feminine, more screams, more cries for help.
Oh, so it's like a movie.
But regardless,
okay.
And then the pops, and then you can
sort of a movie, but then there's real murder that happens, a detective that is trying to solve this murder that he's actually committing, and the other cops don't know. He's just going around killing people. What
I don't get is I read the reviews and they're saying, it's very story. It's the most BS story I've ever seen. I haven't beat it, but
have you played the first one? Yeah, no, there is a story. Have you played the first one?
I played about half the first one.
Oh, see, all this stuff connects.
But story, it's not going to make sense if you buy this game.
You see, this is why though. Like, I don't know if the standards for a good story in video games is the same as other mediums. Do you know what I mean?
True, that's
The
fair.
problem is, it's like that's why when we get like a Last of Us, people are like, wow, because that's a story. You know?
Yeah,
So
but so is
let's talk
this.
about the
This is
gameplay
just
then.
different. Like,
Is it a
this
good
is
story?
Yeah, it is. It's just
Oh.
different,
Okay.
and it might not be for everybody.
Okay, well,
because
does
it's
it get
so
better?
gruesome. Yeah, it's
It
so
starts off,
gruesome.
hey, what should we do tonight? Let's do it, and then they go kill a bunch of people and then go get pizza. Like I
But
don't
then-
see
well,
how that's
they explain
exposition.
it.
Okay, wait. Let me referee this because this is getting out of control. All right, Zach presented his point. We now move on to Gabe.
All right.
Gabe, present your point to defend. This is like movie fights or something from which I love.
Celebrity deathmatch, even though I'm not a celebrity.
All right, go ahead. Gabe. You have 90 seconds to refute.
No, but that stuff that he's saying makes no sense in the beginning. It makes sense if you keep playing. They explain the rest of it. You just gotta, first of all, make it through the game because it is very, very hard. And other than just the gore and everything, I think the game's difficulty is off-putting to people. They're like, nope, can't do this. This is too difficult. So then they never see what the rest of the story is. Like, I understand how you play maybe the first hour of it and you didn't play the first one, so nothing that's happening makes sense to you. And you don't know what else is coming that is going to explain this to you because the story isn't really told in sequence. There's different character perspectives, things like that. And a lot of the first one gives context. And if you haven't played it and you're not playing later Hotline Miami 2, of course it's not going to make sense. It's natural, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, it to a certain extent, but like it has to have some cohesiveness and stand on its own, right? Like it's
I just don't
almost
like. Why is it not DLC for Hotline Miami 1? How are you going to sell it? To me, here's my experience. I came into it as like thinking of the mind of a fresh player. First of all, I was disgusted by the opening scene, and then the first level, like it's totally beatable, but they're
First level's easy.
easy for Hotline Miami 2. I was getting killed off screen at least a dozen times in the first level. Like there is no holding back. They don't walk you in,
No,
gently.
none of that.
But is that a fair criticism from somebody who loves Dark Souls?
Dark Souls, I don't think. Well,
It's the same thing. They don't hold your hand. You're gonna die a lot.
Here's the difference I feel. At least with this opening level. And again, I did not play the whole game. I'm just going to be very critical of the opening level because to me it's a big problem. Dark Souls will drop a rock in your head, and then next time you avoid the rock. This game has enemies off screen on that first house, and you walk up the stairs, and I don't know where they are because they're moving, and therefore I can't learn from my mistake.
Yes, you can. You hold that left trigger. You look at where everybody is moving. You can see like a large section of the room before you even keep walking into it. Once you go up those first stairs, you drop that gun. Kill that guy stealthily so nobody else hears you, so you don't have everybody rushing at you.
Right.
You pick up his gun, right? And after that, you gauge the room because it also the patterns of the enemies change, pretty much every time.
Can you picture the first level in your head?
Yes, I can.
The southern hall is what was killing me. The eastern, western rooms I could see, but it's the southern hall where they were off the screen. Even when I would scroll down, I don't know. This
you
is
get
my...
a little bit. See, that's why you get a little bit closer. Go into one of those rooms that's eastern. All right, you go into this room. You're safe in that room. So
if you were a new player, though, would you be like, "What the heck am I doing?" Like,
sure.
say you had never played Hotline Miami 1, and you just bought this game for $14.99 on PC or PS4 or whatever, and you boot it up and you want to play it. I don't.
Well, sure. Like the whole rape stuff, like
Not even that. Like that aside, like gameplay.
That's off-putting.
Is it welcoming in any way?
No, but this isn't a welcoming game. Like,
so what is it doing? It's trying to be for people that hate themselves. Like I guess.
I love myself and I'm playing it, and I love the game.
I love myself, but
Well,
I'm
that's
playing
good.
it. Okay, Gabe. Here's a question that arose to me.
The best part of the game Zach hasn't even talked about.
Yeah, just
music.
one quick question about this segment, then we move on to the next part that you talk about. But one thing that I'm wondering is, because to be fair, that criticism that you brought up about like you not knowing what to do, you could say the same thing for a lot of games. Like,
sure.
When you start is confusing. There's lots of games that are like that. But my question is more so, when you play the game, because I don't know, like for me, Hotline Miami 1 is the one that, like, there was a point in time there where everybody talked about it. I played it for an hour. I was like, it's not for me. I don't like the setting and everything. But the gameplay was good. Like, it felt satisfying. Like, in terms of being intuitive and such. Is the gameplay, like, do you feel like it's your fault, or is it the game being cheap?
It can be a mixture of both. But then the thing is, when you die, it's not like you're losing a whole lot. You just try again. It's almost instantaneous. You're right back in the beginning of that
a
one
lot of
section.
progress, even
Yeah,
if
no, you're not. And also, this game is a lot easier than the first one because you have the ability to hone in to target enemies. You couldn't do that in the first game. Like
But the first game opened up with some intro levels that taught you about like knocking over enemies with closed doors. It taught you about hiding behind corners. Taught you about luring
this
people
game
over.
expects that you already know that. And maybe that's a detriment to the game, but for me, since I've played the first one, it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like I know about these doors. I know about having to stomp these guys' heads in and like make them bash with the blood because I played the first one.
So it's kind of a big learning curve. Let's put it.
Yeah, like if
Now-
you've never played the first one and Hotline Miami 2 is your first experience, yeah, you're gonna be lost. That's fine.
Is
Okay,
that fine though? Like,
I don't think it's the game's job to cater to someone just because they haven't played it. That it's your job as someone who hasn't played it to do your research.
to go back and play Hotline Miami 1?
You don't
Not
have to.
really. I mean, that's debatable already because look, you're buying a product. It's like saying, well, it's your job to learn how to use the thing. You know, it's like,
Yeah,
but
You'll
there has to
figure
be
it
some
out, like-
accessibility, right?
But the other thing I wanted to say is once you figure this out, you figured it out. That's it.
Mhm.
Like things
Yeah.
click. Like I get it. It's frustrating at first, but once you got it, you got it.
And what were
And-
you going to bring up? I think you said
The
music.
music, man,
Okay.
it's absolutely to me the best part of Hotline Miami. They sell the soundtrack separately. What do you think of that music, Zach? It's beautiful, isn't it?
I like Ori's better.
Have either
guess,
of
like-
you seen?
Go ahead.
All right, have either of you seen that Jake Gyllenhaal movie? What's it called?
Nightcrawler.
Drive.
Oh.
No, that's not Jake
That's not-
Gyllenhaal. That's the other
Ryan
guy.
Gosling?
Yeah,
That's
him.
Ryan Gosling. Yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
So
Drive.
it's
have
like
you
that
guys seen-
synth music kind of.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like think about that when you're
Kind of
thinking
like
about the
80s
music.
synth. Okay.
Yeah, but also mix in like a little bit of chip tunes to it. It's amazing.
I think
love
for
it.
me, I just have a hard time appreciating it. Like maybe on its own, the music is great, the mechanics are great, but to me, I feel like I'm covered in dirt when I'm playing this game. I don't think there's any way I could love this game just for the fact that for me, it clashes with like my
Ethics. and
everything.
morals.
Yeah, and that's fine.
And there's no it's not like if it didn't have blood. It's nothing about that. It's just about the concept of the game. It wears itself on its sleeve with that prologue. And I guess I'm interested or wondering why that Hatred was a trailer that we saw last year for a game that kind of glorified killing. Guy was going on a murder spree. He was angry. He hated the world, and so he was killing people at short range. Why do you think this hasn't gotten any buzz at all?
Because this is telling
Because
a story.
the first one was also quite violent too.
Yeah, and besides just the violent, this is telling a story, and this is also just, it's commentary on our society also. Like, Hatred is really just, hey, I'm just gonna.
This is commentary on our society. People that go and murder entire.
Well, no,
houses
but
of
how much
people.
we love this stuff. Like it or not, like.
Did you ever feel like bad playing it though? Like at any point?
But
Nah,
I think
know-
that's already like a personal
Yeah,
moral.
I know.
At
This
that
is
point,
a
you
video
can't
game.
really judge the game. Well, like I guess you could judge its subject matter, but like
Yeah.
I guess I'm just talking about like how come there's no issue with finish her. I don't know. Like to me that just. I should probably just step out of the conversation. because at
I
that
don't
point
know.
I was like,
that took me aback because I was like, what? Like
at that point I was just done. Like it
I
didn't.
was surprised. But
See, and
again,
I-
that's just our personal thing. Like,
Sure, it was just hard for me to judge the game objectively at that point.
Yeah.
and
See,
that's
'cause
fair
to me,
enough.
and to me, I know this is a video game. Like, I see what they're trying to do, and like, sure, to a sound mind, like, no, I'm not gonna keep playing. This is obviously outlandish, right? But if you keep going with it, it's a good time, and maybe you're not supposed to have a good time with the subject matter like this. But I can separate it. I know exactly what it is in my head. This gives me no urge to go commit murder or anything like
I'm
that.
not talking about that.
That's
no.
not-
No, I know, but like that
It's
argument
just
could be
what
leveled.
I think Zach's point is like this. What is the interest of even playing in this world? Like there's no if the mechanics don't make me satisfied and the subject matter is like really really dark, I don't have any incentive to continue exploring it.
Yeah. See,
I
but
get-
then
I
the
guess-
mechanics click for me, and they're not that hard. And I'm interested in the subject matter. Not interested like I'm not.
Not
not like a-
partaking.
Nah, I'm not a
Walk
twisted.
that one back.
Yeah. See, but like to me, I see it as like a Quentin Tarantino movie, like Kill
To
Bill.
me,
Like
it's more, no, to me it's more like torture porn. Like
Mm, I don't know.
I'm starting to feel dirty.
Like I see these like I see this like a Tarantino type story, and
Okay.
that's just how I'm visualizing it, and that's how I'm playing it, and I'm having.
So it does have a story, because usually Tarantino movies have really, really like a core message in them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I like it a lot. I'm gonna keep playing. I'm finishing. Does anyone know how many acts are in the game? I haven't finished it.
I don't know. I'm not gonna. Ori, I'm gonna play for sure next week. I'll report back.
I guess I'm just confused most of all, and I know I've been saying this a lot, but why is this being marketed as like a mainstream game when really it's...
Who's marketing it as a mainstream game?
I don't know. I just feel like Hotline Miami 2, it's this big like indie hit. Like, go play it. It was on live at the show floor at PAX East. You could walk up and play it no matter who you were, and really...
Well, because the first one was a big success, right?
Oh, yeah. No doubting that. I just think... Look at the games that get bashed, like Assassin's Creed, for not having a female assassin in the game. This game is doing far more damage in terms of that type of
See, but also
issue.
Hotline Miami knows what it is.
Okay, so if you don't take yourself seriously, you can be a horrible...
Yeah, and I'm not even saying that it doesn't take itself seriously. It's just, it's a different thing, really. And honestly, Hotline Miami gets away with a lot of things just because it looks the way it looks.
Yeah, I mean, I just think about like The Witcher 3. If Witcher 3 opened with this scene, it would be all over the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a lot more realistic and not so cartoony.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's fine, man. The game is obviously not for everyone.
Yeah.
But if you love Hotline Miami 2, Hotline Miami 2 does it for me just all over. I really want to get into the level creator. Haven't messed with that.
That is something that I do think is very interesting. That you can now build your own missions, kind of.
Nobody cares about spoilers for Hotline Miami 2, right?
No, I don't.
I'm not gonna play it, so go
All
ahead.
right, like you get arrested. You're trying to,
yes, justice.
You're trying to shoot your way out of the precinct, and you're just killing cops left and right. And that's what I'm surprised that didn't get like more heat. Like, hey, like why are we just killing cops like willy nilly? Like.
Well, to be fair, you do that in GTA all the time.
Well, yeah, but
and
here
Battlefield Hardline next week.
I gotta go install that, by the way. But yeah, I don't know, man.
Whatever. Again, it's one of those games that I think is going to be polarizing for people, depending on your own personal morals. And again, it doesn't mean that oh, look at us on our mountain of high ground, looking on all you down. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying that for us, it doesn't fit. For you, it fits. That's it. It's not better or worse. It's more.
And I'm gonna say, I'm like one of the most happy-go-lucky. Like, I'm not really a twisted person at all.
So I don't think it reflects. It doesn't reflect your personality or anything.
That's what I want to like. I don't want people to think I'm all of a sudden into
no. That's why I clarified it. Like I've said, that it's not a better or worse scenario. It's either or. Like you like it or you don't, and that's it. Like that's why I think it's just one of those things. And at no point do I think we said that it's a bad game.
No.
You could have a bad subject matter or an uninteresting subject matter to us. But it doesn't make it a bad game. So I think that's the fair way.
I was really excited for it, and then just
speaking of which, though, of excitement, why don't we jump on the train?
Do you want to go to Hype City already?
Choo.
We can't. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go to Hype City. We're going to take our talents to Hype City and talk about our most anticipated game as of right this second. I said that slowly because I'm trying to decide.
Zach,
what I'm gonna pick.
Okay, I'll go first.
All right, yeah, do it.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
As long as it's not Batman. I'm joking. Go on.
Okay, so this past week they finally started releasing this, which is Batman Arkham Knight, the prequel storyline. So having read this, halfway through, I once again re-engaged my hype once again for Batman. It's I'm worried a little bit to continue reading this because I'm almost worried that it's going to give me away a lot of plot. But it's a really great comic book that kind of like is going to bridge the beginning of Arkham Knight and the end of City. Because Origins takes place before, right?
Right.
You got to remember that. So, and they do make a reference to all the different scenarios. So, for example, at one point, spoiler alert, it happens in like the first 2 pages. Batman meets Electrocutioner again. Now, of course, you took him out in the game in Origins, but you meet like his disciple, his next version of the Electrocutioner. So they make a reference to characters from Origins, from City, and from Asylum. It's written by Peter Tomasi, who's an amazing writer. He always writes Batman very well, especially Batman and Robin. So based on that, if the tone of the Arkham Knight of that character is the same, it's going to be really cool because what they did, they made him like an equal to Batman in terms of intelligence and being able to like outsmart Batman and be like one step ahead of Batman. And at the same time, he is similarly to like how Red Hood is not scared to kill the criminals. He is 100% intent on like, okay, you're a bad guy, we don't need you, you're dead, and he just shoots him square in the head. So he moves on. He's a lot more violent and such, which I guess may be attributed a little bit to the mature rating. I'm guessing he's going to be a big reason why that game is going to be.
Did you dig through the ESRB rating by any chance?
Yeah, some of that stuff is a little bit spoilery though. Like, so I don't know.
It looks like there's a potential for a second playable character. It doesn't give any details, but in one of the ESRB kind of
little summaries. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it talks about how you can blah 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 shoot civilians. Now,
yeah, but they did say you're going to get to play as Red Hood, so maybe that's what it's a reference to.
Yeah,
Red Hood is DLC. He's a pre-order, and you've got to get to play as him. He has guns, so obviously that would be a part of your.
Or it could just be a poor wording of the Batmobile if that has the potential to.
Oh, that's a good point too. Because you have that firing mechanism. Yeah. Yep.
Either way, Darker Batman and Delicious Batman. Hopefully,
and Arkham Knight's a really cool character.
Who may
I'm about to download those first three. Max has the first one in his hand. The first three issues are now on Comixology.
Yeah,
they're $1 each. So if you want to save some money, download them on your iPad or on your iPhone. That's why I'm gonna read them tonight. So I'm gonna get all three for the price that Max got for the one. No, I'm not making fun of him. I'm just like letting people know.
Thanks. I'm not making fun of him, but just so you know, he's a book.
There's something to say for physical books and comics.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
if I wasn't lazy, I would just drive to the comic shop. But it's like 2 towns over. Like
it's probably like 5 towns over from Hype City. So what is your pick?
I haven't even thought of mine. You want to go first? Do you have yours?
Battlefield, probably. No, I thought you were.
I would say because I'm about to install Battlefield like here in a few minutes. So I would say, yeah, man, I'm gonna
check out that campaign.
Yeah, I just want to get through that campaign, see how that is. So yeah, let's go with Battlefield. Let's give Battlefield some love because nobody talks about this poor game. I forgot it was even coming this week.
That's the weird thing. It's like it just felt like it all of a sudden like it had like anticipation, and then it was like, here it is, guys. There you go.
Yeah. and I hope it brings some of the charm that Bad Company 2 brought back to the multiplayer.
Oh, that was such a fun game.
Yeah, like I hope it does that. We got peeks of it in the beta. Believe it or not, the beta was actually fun. So I'm excited what they do for the full multiplayer, and I know that's gonna be a good time. So. But yeah, I just want to know what the campaign is. My hopes aren't like crazy up there, but I'm definitely hyped to begin playing it. Bloodborne's coming, so I'll probably throw it over to Zach at this point in case that's his. But yeah, Battlefield Hardline. I know I'm gonna start playing it. Zach might. I know Max won't touch it.
I'm gonna give it a chat. I'll look. I'm gonna give the campaign specifically just because it's visceral and I want to see what if they've done anything unique with that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a tough one for me. I'd love to say Bloodborne, but I'm going to actually give it to The Witcher 3 just because I was so sad when my hour was up. Like, a guy came over, and he was kind of, like, looking at me, but I didn't want to make eye contact because I was trying to...
Were you watching one of the cutscenes?
No. I was about to fight the Griffin, and so I was kind of like, don't come over. And so then finally 2 guys came over at once. They double-teamed me. And
he got reinforced
by the arms.
Yeah, they're like, get out of here. So I was so impressed by how that game captured my interest, and the quests there seem like they're going to be very up my alley and involved, and I'm going to want to do a lot of them, as opposed to, for whatever reason, in a game like Skyrim, I got bored of it quite early. But like, just maybe it's the narrative focus, maybe it's the third person, the dynamic of sort of the when you're having the dialogues. It's not Fallout face to face. It is pretty interesting how they shape some of those scenes, and just going and hearing, oh god, there's this witch in this well, or there's this griffin, like that stuff. Very cool. I'm just curious how there were so many systems I didn't even explore. You didn't dive into your inventory once in that first hour, and clearly that's a huge part. Crafting the spells, it just seems like it's going to be an insane experience. Yeah. Bloodborne sounded great too, though.
It's one of those games. I feel like Witcher is like, it's going to be one of those like ridiculous bang for your buck. Like there's going to be very few games that can.
It's the anti-order. Yeah, it's the anti-order.
Yeah. Like it's going to be the complete opposite of where you just have like you're going to be like, oh my god, like it's just you could probably play that game for years.
I won't be able to talk about it for a month, but there is a game that I just heard about, and I Googled this, and nobody, like, there's literally nothing on this game.
Okay.
No, talk about it off podcast.
Yeah,
we can't. No breaking
Nice
news here.
speech to everybody.
Anyways, come back in a month.
No, but with that, see, here I was already mentally saying, oh, that's the end of the podcast, but I forgot. We have reader email now.
We do.
Yes.
Can't Stop Asking at gmail.com is where you can send your questions, your comments, your concerns, your relationship advice emails, your gaming advice emails.
Wait, relationship advice to us or from us? Because honestly, I'm not sure which one we could help with.
I'm gonna email Max. Hey Max, my wife, man.
What would you do in this situation?
And from here on forth, like, if you want your name to be said, not said, please make that clear. If like you don't want your last name to be read or your first name, if you want to go by a handle, just let us know, and I'll be very mindful of that. I'm just gonna go first name only today. Simon writes in, "Hey Zach, Max, and Gabe, what games do you think are gonna get delayed into 2016?"
Uncharted.
He says, as much as I want it to happen, I don't think Uncharted will make it out in 2015.
Ooh.
It was a little Nostradamus.
Yeah. Profit. All right.
Any other ones, big ones that you think might get pushed?
Zelda, right
No,
over your
I
shoulder.
have
Zelda. I think Zelda too. Hopefully that shrine can work its magic, but I feel Zelda might not come.
Zelda gets pushed.
The
Division gets pushed.
Other than that, we don't know too much. So I don't
that's
know.
the problem. Everything else, October, November, like we don't
I mean,
know
they
what the
talked
months
that
are
Quantum
yet.
Break is probably delayed till 2016.
Yeah, Quantum Break isn't coming yet, man. I'm sorry. The TV stuff is.
So basically, the big exclusive for the fall right now, what we think is Halo. That's
and
it.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah, those are two.
Okay.
And Assassin's Creed.
I don't think Zelda gets delayed though.
See, but if we get another Black Ops game, that's gonna be big. Like, people love that.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Black Ops 2 is my favorite. So.
Chin145 says, "Dear Zach, Max, and Gabe, I love how they're inclusive of all of us here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Here we go.
How does one get into E3, and what are your expectations for this upcoming E3? Thanks.
Okay.
Keep up with the
I'll tell them. All right. First of all, you got to buy a bandana. You got to buy a all black suit, a black mask.
Too much Hotline Miami.
Yeah.
And then you gotta go to the LA Convention Center a week before E3. You gotta go open one of the Vans Batman style, hide in one of them, but make sure you take enough granola bars and stuff just so you can have enough energy. So the day of the show, you kick the vent out, and boom, you're at E3. That's how you
all of a sudden you're behind a booth and you can't get out.
E3 is supposed to be an industry-only event. It's 18
Well, isn't
and
there
over.
one day that you?
There used to be, but not anymore.
No, not
they
anymore.
removed it. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
It's not open to the public.
There are definitely some ways to wiggle yourself in if you have like a small website or a YouTube channel or whatnot, but I've heard that they've gotten even more strict this year because they're trying to clamp down on that. It is supposed to be for the industry, for the press,
Or a podcast.
Or a podcast.
But to be fair, honestly, from like I haven't gone to any of them yet, so I don't speak from personal experience. I speak from like listening to Giant Bomb and other people in the game industry. A lot of people say that it's a lot easier to cover it and just watch everything from home. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people say that they're like the only big benefit of going is getting behind closed doors if you can, like some sort of access.
You know, I've heard that specifically from Giant Bomb, and I've been 3 years in a row now, and every time I hear that I get confused because I play more games, have more fun, wait in less lines at E3 than any other show. I almost feel like it's a little bit of a jaded thing of like, oh, I don't want to walk around.
Yeah, like they've just done it so long. Like
maybe,
you know.
But the other thing is, remember that these publications get the games brought to them a lot of times for demos or for press events that we're not ever experiencing.
And it's not absolutely set in stone, but we should all be at E3, I think, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, that is the intention. In terms of expectations, I have no idea. Let's save that for
we're gonna do
April,
a whole
May.
Yeah, we'll have
do a
an
big
E3
podcast on that for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll make it into like a game show. That's what we should do.
Sounds good.
We'll learn points.
Are you what hosting personality are you going to be, Max?
I'm gonna be like the guy from Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Or we could get Alex Trebek. I'm pretty sure he's not doing anything.
Yeah. Noah writes in with the best question of the week. The subject line is Gabe's beard.
Okay, here we go.
As soon as I saw that, there was about 80 emails this week, and this was
all about my beard.
The one that you chose.
It's
one. Okay, here we go.
Gabe,
No pressure.
how do you get your beard to look so good? I can't seem to get mine so nice.
My beard is terrible. I have a bad beard actually. Nothing, man. I
It's
literally
just
do nothing.
Constant massaging.
Yeah, you got to pay a lot of attention.
Constant.
I
Do you
water
do
it
anything
twice
like
a day.
wacky? Do you put like avocado in it or something like that, or some
I
weird
just water
stuff?
it twice a day. No, I
Oh,
do
you water it twice a day? What is it, a plant?
It's called
No,
a
I'm-
shower.
Nah, but I literally do nothing. Like, I pay extra attention to it in the shower. Like, I make sure, like, instead of just washing my hair, I wash my beard too. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Instead of washing your hair?
No, I said, like, not just washing my hair. I do both.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Okay.
extra conditioner, so it's extra soft. Nah, man, I don't do anything to it. I wish I had some special trick, but I
Do you have
don't.
like a special comb for it or something?
Does this thing look like it gets combed? No,
Do you have a name for your beard?
no. All right,
You
hey,
should.
all right, guys. Next time you email, also include a name for my beard, and we'll
There we
go
go.
from there. Yeah.
Katarina brings us back to the gaming side of things, and she basically wants to know. She loves story-based games and wants to know if we have any idea. She says, "I'm looking for games with that little extra, games with smart and thoughtful stories, plot twists. Do you guys have any recommendations in terms of games?"
Hotline Miami.
No.
Well, I think the big ones that come to mind is like BioShock,
Yeah.
BioShock
Mhm.
Infinite,
We
Last of Us.
Zach talked about it last week, but Mirror's Edge, if you can still get your hands on that.
It's a pretty cool story. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
really
I don't know.
twisty.
I don't. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
oh,
know
she
if
wants
the
plot
story
twists?
there is
I
driven
I think
by-
Alan Wake is a very
Yeah, that's a
long
good
storyline.
one. That's a great choice. That's an underrated one right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is Strange could turn out to be a very mysterious affair. We are waiting on episode 2.
I would say to a certain extent Dead Space also.
Okay.
in my opinion.
I mean, it gets wacky, but yeah, it does twist it up.
No, I mean like the first one, Dead Space
Okay.
one.
I mean,
Dead
BioShock
Space 2
Infinite, if
kind
you
of-
haven't played that. But yeah, BioShock Infinite's okay.
Bioshock Infinite's fantastic. Does
I
Claw
don't
have a
know.
twisty plot?
Claw.
It was a claw the whole time.
It was a claw. It was all about the claw the whole time. To be honest, at this point, the story from what I remember was like very vague. It was like, you're the good guy, these are the bad guys.
I mean,
It's
mystery
a-
is something that's not used in
Okay.
games.
Yeah, it's
Well,
really hard to do.
You know what?
Really challenging. I mean, like you could go obviously to a lot of Telltale games.
Yeah,
Those
that's where I
games
was
are
gonna go
driven by
next.
story. So, I mean, if you want just pure story, the problem is that there's not a lot of game necessarily there. So I guess it depends on how much of a balance you want between those two elements. You know?
One game I'm thinking of that has more environmental story, but it did capture me a lot. Gosh, what was it called? It was in development for I'm Alive.
Oh, that game was bad though.
I love that game.
Yeah.
Carrying
that
your
sounds
kid.
really familiar. Is that
Download one game from Ubisoft.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Your
yes,
kid
yes.
through it.
Okay, yeah. I was like, that sounds so familiar, and yeah.
That game, that's just like sort of an oddball recommendation that really grabbed me story-wise. Our last question comes from Chaminda, who wants to know,
I thought you said Charmander first.
Charmander writes in,
Charmander, why does Bulbasaur keep throwing water at me?
you mean Squirtle?
Oh yeah, Bulbasaur. Why does Bulbasaur keep doing his?
Hey,
plant
did you see Game Freak is working with Sega on a non-Pokemon game?
Really?
I didn't know that.
It's called, oh gosh, I have to get
Oh, is it the elephant
It
game?
is the elephant game, and it's
Yeah.
called,
Tembo or something?
is it Timbo? Is that what it's called?
Tembo.
Tembo the badass elephant.
Let's just go back to how ashamed I need to
Wait,
be.
is that really the tagline for it?
That's the
Tembo?
title.
Oh, that's. Okay, I kind of like it already.
Hold
just
on. What I
because
love
that's the
about this
title.
game is that it stole the banana collecting sound from Donkey Kong Country. So when you're collecting the little coins in the game, it is that exact sound. I just thought it was interesting that Game Freak is doing something that doesn't involve Ash Ketchum.
That's what
Well,
you
they
think.
haven't
He's the
done
final
anything that
boss.
involves Ash Ketchum in a while because Ash
Okay.
Ketchum hasn't been in any games.
My clever little transition.
Ash is the final boss, guys.
Back to the question at hand.
That's right.
Over the years, video games have spawned movies, and they're notorious for being not so great. With Assassin's Creed movie coming out in 2016, The Last of Us, Uncharted movies hopefully
World
coming
of
out later,
Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. Do you guys think that there will be any good video game movies? And what video game do you want to spawn into its own movie? You guys are
Metal
awesome. You guys rock.
I want Metal Gear to be a movie, just
Be like
it
an 8-hour
is.
movie.
Yeah, why not?
I think actually Metal Gear could be a really cool movie as long as they don't get like crazy. Like don't follow the games.
Yeah, but like have the world, have
But
Snake.
yeah,
like-
the
Who would
world
you
and
wanna
the
play
characters,
Snake?
for sure?
Who would play Snake?
John Hamm, an older John Hamm.
No. Let me think. Who?
Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick actually.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, no, that's too goofy.
I guess it depends if you go action or like drama
Yeah.
heavy. That would kind of influence who.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, you could do Keith Sutherland. He's already doing the voice for.
I don't know. I feel like he's too small. Like I feel like
Thatcher isn't there.
He is
yeah,
small.
like you know what I mean. Like you need somebody like very like older and also like I don't know. You know, oh God, why am I blanking? Who's the guy from There Will Be Blood? He played Lincoln.
Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yeah. I think he would be an awesome Snake, like an older Snake. You know, if they did like, I think that'd be awesome because I think he'd get into the character. He'd bulk up, right? And he'd grow out the mustache and everything. He'd look like a boss.
All right, Zach, let's do this, right? All right,
What
you
about
walk into
Michael
it.
Fassbender?
He's too young.
Awesome.
He's too young, though. All right,
Yeah, I don't think like maybe if they do like a young Snake, right? Like so. Yeah. that makes sense.
Zach,
Yeah,
picture this. Picture this. You go to see Andrew Garfield in The Amazing Spider-Man 3, right?
Oh,
You're sitting down at the theater. You take a seat. White screen, right? That's all you see right now. The first trailer.
Okay.
You see like a paintball being shot at the screen. Boom,
Okay.
right?
All of a sudden,
Wait.
Let's just paint this a little bit more vivid. He's got popcorn falling from his mouth.
Oh my God.
All right, more paintballs, right? But the
Yeah.
paintballs are all like blue, right?
Okay.
And then you see that it's underwater all of a sudden. You see a squid swim by.
Oh, jeez.
The swim jumps out. It lands on the head of a little girl.
Okay.
Boom! Splatoon, the movie.
Wait,
coming.
is this live action?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Like in all seriousness,
That's pretty awful.
in all
But if
seriousness,
animated, it would be cool. I think it would.
I think Ori and the Blind Forest would be a great animated movie.
Yeah, I mean that's an obvious one.
It'd be sad though.
My pick, I mean, I don't know how I feel about the Last of Us movie. Like either that's gonna be awesome or terrible.
I think it's gonna be a good movie. I just feel like that game.
If they
it's
follow
like,
the same plot though, do you want them to do the Last of Us story?
oh, that's what they'll do. But because they'll access the people who like didn't play the game but will watch the movie.
Mhm.
But I just think it's kind of backwards thinking because it's like the game's gonna be better no matter what. So
Well, they
it's
have what 15 hours to convey the plot versus
Yeah, so
2.5.
yeah, I know, but that's why I'm saying that it's backwards. Like
Yeah.
to me, I feel like you should take something like a game that's like Metal Gear. That's why it's a good example because that world is awesome. A lot of those characters are awesome, but the story is oftentimes super convoluted, and at this point, it's so confusing. So why not in a movie form you could keep it a lot more easy to digest and stuff. So that's why I think it's a good pick.
Mhm.
All right. Bear with me here, and I'm really not even trying to be funny anymore. Like, what about a much more toned down Hotline Miami? Where like it really is like not a horror movie, but sort of where like dudes with masks are like
Yeah,
off
like
on
a violent. Yeah.
yeah.
What's
but I
that
don't
movie
know.
called where there's like no crime for a night? What's that series?
Purge. Yes.
The Purge.
Yes.
Like that.
Or even You're Next. If you guys
I think that it would be really cool to see, especially now with the superhero age and everything. I think Metroid would be really neat with a female lead and everything.
they won't even make a game, much less a movie.
No, I know, but I just think that,
I mean, as the big Nintendo fan, like I don't want like Mario, Zelda. I think BioShock, maybe not following that plot, but that world and kind of that intrigue and era might be interesting. Kind of like fantastical land, but set back in time. Usually we see like futuristic movies in like crazy worlds, but kind of going
we're
back.
We're getting a new Tomb Raider movie. Like it's completely reboot. They're gonna go off these newer games. So I don't know. Hopefully that's
If it's more serious, if they try to make
it will be. It will be
I just
more
think,
serious.
generally speaking, I think we all agree with the fact that we don't want to see any movie remake the game in movie form, right?
No,
I don't
that's
think
a bad
we want
idea.
that. I think in best case scenario, what you want to see is you want to see the characters and the world taken, but then tell a different story.
Absolutely.
Right?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. So some good choices. I mean, do you guys think? So Last of Us we're high on. We think that one will turn out a-okay. Assassin's Creed.
I don't know, man. Again, man, you can't make a good game. What are you doing making movies? Get out of here. Go make it so that.
No, there's been some good Assassin's Creed games, right? I mean,
No,
like,
no,
I
but
don't
I'm
know,
saying
I've stopped
lately.
playing them.
I guess really it's like what makes the best movie transition? A great plot, a great world, a great character. Like
Well,
what
same
are we
thing
looking
as
for?
games. A lot of times it's subjective, right?
No, I know. I'm saying from games. Do you want a game that, like
okay.
Last of Us, that has a great plot? A game like Assassin's Creed that has a huge world that you could create a story within, or
think
a memorable character
that's-
like Snake?
To me, that's what it is more. A
To me,
character and a
characters where
world.
it starts. I just want cool characters. Put them in interesting scenarios and go from there. Like the world doesn't even need to be that interesting as long as the characters are.
I think so much of it is like because we have a visual representation. Book to movie is easier because it's just in your head, and then either you hate it or love it. But since we already have a visual, if the lead doesn't embody it or look right.
Yeah, that's why we had a harder time casting, right? Like book, the thing is, it's like you can still envision something, right? But like if the final product is not what you thought, you could still adjust your thinking. I think more so than with a game. Like we know what Snake is supposed to look like. We've seen it hundreds of thousands of times and hundreds of thousands of hours. But because of that, like we want to see an actor that could like fit that image, you know?
Exactly.
So I don't know. I mean, like, I'm really hopeful for Assassin's Creed because, I don't know, I just don't necessarily think that Michael Fassbender chooses bad projects. So I don't think he would have signed on.
That's why this is his first one.
To do a bad one. And he's also producing this, right? I think. I'm pretty sure. Because he probably needs to get paid higher. So that's why.
Interesting. And we have interesting stuff coming up. Battlefield Hardline is going to be out next week. The Final Fantasy 15 demo that's tied to Type 0 HD will be out next week. I've got my hands on Codename Steam and Mario Party 10. So this has been kind of like a mini fall here in mid-March.
March is amazing. Ori, I know you don't like Hotline Miami, but Ori and Hotline
I'm really excited about Ori. I'm going to play Ori most likely either tonight or tomorrow night for sure.
Yeah, go get on that.
Yeah, and the thing about starting,
I love that game for sure.
You're not gonna want to put it down for a while. Like this isn't like the order that like I didn't know what you're gonna think. Like Ori, I'm pretty sure you're gonna like. Like I don't think there's a way to
Ghibli movies. I love anything like in that kind of art style right away.
Have you played Super Metroid before?
I played it a little bit.
And this game just evokes so many feelings from Super Metroid. I love it, but yeah.
I don't know. It just looks cool, so that's why. It's the same kind of hype for art style that I had for like Ni no Kuni. So same kind of thing.
Another great game.
Just hype. Yep.
Lots of good stuff coming, and there will probably be another bonus episode for you guys to check out if you haven't already. Make sure to send your questions, comments, feedback, relationship advice or asking, whatever. They've opened it up to that. Can't stop asking.
Can't stop asking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we will be back next week. Final thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts is, guys, don't forget, again, Zach mentioned it before, but if you guys enjoy the podcast and you want to help us out, we're keeping the podcast free, all that kind of mumbo-jumbo. So if you could do one thing for us is just continue rating it. If you haven't rated it, subscribe. That's a really, really awesome way to support the podcast. Again, it just keeps it higher on the lists and everything and lets more people listen to it.
Blare it out loud on trains, in your classroom, in your workspace, just simple stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right, here's what you do, guys. You get some paint. You go to your neighbor's house. I'm joking.
You gotta
Get out of here.
Hotline. It's not a bad influence on
joking.
Yeah, you said it hasn't influenced you. I don't know, Gabe.
No, seriously, just to echo what Max is saying. If you haven't reviewed it, it takes you a few seconds. If you don't know how to do it, Google it. That also takes you like an extra 2 seconds. And that's a huge help so that these things...
Basically like high-fiving us or hugging us or kissing us, whatever you want to envision in your head, that review, that accomplishes that task.
Again, don't feel like it's like a do or die kind of scenario. No. It's just if you can spare the time, we'd really appreciate it. And
But you don't, but if you don't, we do die.
No, don't say that.
All right.
You heard what happened to me on the plane.
Gabe's not allowed to play mature games anymore.
I'm joking.
That's it.
Follow these guys, twitter.com/blitzwinger, twitter.com/volatilegabe, twitter.com/GhostRobo. More golden stuff next week. It has been a good show. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, next week, where we will see you later.